Welcome to WIUX Sports and good evening from Miami. Tonight, the final chapter of an unforgettable sports story is ready to be written. From Bloomington, Indiana to the biggest stage in college athletics, the Hoosiers are playing for the national championship. 60 minutes from history with the Miami Hurricanes standing in the way. This is Indiana football on WIUX. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. We're going to bring in our sideline reporter, Nick Rodecap, in just a moment. And we're thrilled to have you with us tonight. Ben, what a treat to be here, but maybe the biggest blessing of the entire week is Miami playing here at Hard Rock Stadium, their home field.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just what an absolute blessing, like you said, for us to get this opportunity and for Indiana to have the 2-year turnaround. Again, this is sort of that last chapter of one of the greatest sports stories that really has ever been told. But I think, too, to your point about Miami playing in their home venue, a lot of people want to talk about it. Let's talk about the crowd. We'll get into it later, but this is more of a 50-50 split than you'd expect. But there are some things beyond the crowd that are tough, that are tough to battle if you're Indiana. Miami got to practice at their own facility all week. They got to sleep in their own bed for longer than Indiana did. It's just a much more familiar feeling and feeling like you're playing a home game.
Let's dive in to the tail of the tape a little bit. First things first, the quarterback matchup. These are two of the top transfer quarterbacks in the country entering this season, seeking a fresh start, and tonight they meet on college football's biggest stage. Ben, this is a battle of experience, poise, and the ability to deliver in the biggest moments.
They are, and it's also two quarterbacks who haven't had to do a ton this year because of each team's running game. That all starts with the offensive lines. I think that's where both offenses really their strengths begins. Now, Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman moments, it's never been because of the stats. It's been because of the clutch moments and what he's needed to do when Indiana needs him the most. He has come up time and time again. Carson Beck, he's had a lot of opportunities at his 3 years as a starting quarterback for top 10 teams, and he also, in a lot of moments, has stepped up, but we have seen some big moment woes for Carson Beck, but he's played in a lot of these big games.
For more on the availability report and ins and outs tonight regarding injuries, we send it down to the sideline to Nick Rodecap. Nick, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Some injury updates for you guys before we begin this national championship game. Miami is without its starting defensive back, Xavier Lucas, for the first half of this game. Of course, you think back to the Fiesta Bowl. He was ejected for targeting in the second half of that game against Ole Miss. 45 tackles for Lucas, a team-best 8 pass breakups this year. Mario Cristobal, Miami's head coach, said that penalty was unjustly administered, but be that as it may, Miami will figure out a way to keep Indiana's passing attack in check without one of its key shutdown defenders. Also out for Miami, starting tight end Elijah Lofton. 4 starts this year, 3 touchdown catches. He was also injured in the Fiesta Bowl. He is officially out. Defensive back Damari Brown is a game-time decision, a pass breakup and 24 tackles. And for Indiana, the long-range field goal specialist Brendan Franke, who made that key 58-yarder against Oregon at Autzen Stadium back in October, has not played since late October against UCLA. Franke is a game-time decision, leaning toward being able to play. We saw him hit from 59 yards during warm-ups. Any other injury updates throughout the game, I'll keep you posted, but for now, we'll send it back upstairs.
Fantastic work down there, Nick. What a pleasure it is to be here. We're about 5 minutes from kickoff. We'll be right back on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Back here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. We're 3 minutes from kickoff of the national championship between Miami and Indiana. Ben, this atmosphere, I'm sure you guys can hear it at home. It is rowdy.
It is one of the coolest atmospheres I've seen. I think we just saw when the lights went out and they were waiting both teams to run out, we saw some pretty good Let's Go Canes chants coming out. We also saw some really big Hoosiers chants coming too. So I think, this is going to be a 50-50 crowd, about as close to it, and you're going to tell when both teams run out how crazy it's going to be.
Absolutely. Miami is coming out of the tunnel right now, and listen to that home crowd. Ben, we talked about the split, but tonight it seems like tickets are dead even. It's about to be what fan base is louder tonight. Pre-game it was Indiana, but man, I was doing some prep before the game. We went on the air, and now I'm hearing the Hurricane crowd.
Well, there's a lot of boos right now, more prevalent as Indiana runs out. And I think that might tell you what it's going to be, but I don't know. We'll see when Miami runs out.
Ben, all week you hear the media talk about what team can treat it like just another game. But let's face it, It isn't just another game.
No.
How has Curt Cignetti gotten his team ready to kind of handle all this noise and embrace it?
Well, I'll tell you a couple things that Curt Cignetti doesn't like about this right now. Everything for Indiana has been really trying to keep the same rhythm, trying to keep the same schedule when they go on these road trips. And the reason it's been like that is because it's that mentality of every game is the same. Now, for the national championship, things are a little different with how you have to do things. You had to be there a little earlier than you do for most games. The Peach Bowl a couple of times, but for the championship, they're here on Friday. Cignetti doesn't like that.
We'll be right back on WIUX for kickoff of the national championship. 65,326 strong at Hard Rock Stadium for the national championship. The captains are out meeting at midfield for one final time in the 2025 college football season. Indiana wearing their crimson tops with their white pants, the white trim on the crimson helmets, and Miami playing at their home stadium, their squeaky clean all-white uniforms with a little bit of Miami flair with the orange and green trim. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. We're awaiting the coin toss right now. Indiana will be deferring the right end zone, going right to left on your radio dial. And Ben, I couldn't hear it on the crowd microphone. Both quarterbacks warming up right now in opposite corners of the end zone. Oh man, what a treat it is to be here. Still waiting an official ruling on who's going to get the football first, but nonetheless, this opening series of the game, Miami all week, they're going to try and slow down this game as in dominate time of possession, Ben. And that's got to start from the get-go because Indiana has jumped all over everybody in the playoff.
So I think what the biggest thing is you kind of want to control the game. And obviously you want to play your game, not the other team's game. But I think you have to be cognizant if you're Miami of how Indiana's beaten teams. And they've done that by having as many possessions as possible. Now, if you're Miami, that means you do have to slow the game down a little bit. And that is exactly what they do best. Their offensive line is one of the best in college football, and they run the ball really well. Mark Fletcher Jr. is an outstanding running back. They have a nice two-man punch with him and Shamar Brown, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do.
IU has won the coin toss and elected to defer. Brendan Franke, who Nick Rodecap filled us in on the injury report, he hadn't played for Indiana and been healthy in forever. People know Brendan Franke because he had a 58-yard field goal in Eugene en route to that win over Oregon. But he's their primary kickoff guy. He's out there with the rest of the special teams unit, Miami, as their guys back and ready to receive. It's Tony Johnson as the lead receiving man, along with Keelan Marion for the Hurricanes.
And this is an awesome moment for Miami, too. This is their first time at home since they went on that three-game run, all three of those games away from home.
59 degrees, not a cloud in the sky all day in Miami. Miami will get the football first, moving left to right on your radio dial. The national championship is underway from Miami. Marion takes the kick at the 1. He's going to bring it out, up across the 15, now across the 20. He breaks the tackle, fights forward towards the 30-yard line. Mark him down at the 27. And here comes Carson Beck and the Canes offense. Carson Beck, a 6-year senior out of Jacksonville, Florida. 6'4", 225, transferred from the University of Georgia. He started for 2 years, was the backup for 2 years. He was the #1 quarterback coming out of the transfer portal before the 2025 season. 37-5 for record as a starter. That is the best in college football. Right behind Beck in the shotgun is the starting running back, Mark Fletcher. He's run over 1,000 yards this season. And now the play clock's ready to go. Beck in the shotgun, brings C.J. Daniels across the formation in motion. Beck takes the snap, handoff, Fletcher up the middle, bounces it outside, picks up a couple yards, now a first down, and fights forward through the Indiana defense. Pardon me, they're going to mark him about 1.5 yards shy of the line to gain. A nice 8-yard pickup on first down for Fletcher Jr. And here comes the Hurricanes and their big offensive line.
Yeah, what's so great about that offensive line is that there's not really one side that's stronger than the other, so it makes it hard to guess against. Their left or their right side of the line is just as good as the left.
Beck in the shotgun, 2nd and 2 at the Miami 37. 7-yard line. Fletcher stays in the game right off his left hip. Malachi Tony comes in motion. Beck, play action. Quick screen to Tony, complete. Across the 40, now weaves his way beyond the Indiana defender right at the 44. That's a first down for Miami. And listen to the crowd. This Indiana defense, they've been exceptional, Ben. They're so hard to beat.
One of the best things about the defense is that they don't miss tackles, and you saw one right there by their quarterback, Jamari Sharp. It's those sorts of things that can tell you early if the things they normally do well are what they're struggling with the first drive. That's when you can tell they're a bit off their game.
Back in the shotgun, 1st and 10, quick snap. It's a handoff to Fletcher. Pons levels Fletcher right at the line of scrimmage. Give him half a yard. 2nd and long coming up.
One of the big question marks for every playoff game is how does Indiana replace Stephen Daly? They've gone with a different approach today. Dominique Ratcliffe is starting inside for Indiana, the defensive tackle. They pushed Mario Landito, who came into Indiana as a defensive end, out to the outside where he used to play.
The cornerback and MVP of both the Rose Bowl and Peach Bowl made that tackle right at the line of scrimmage, D'Angelo Pons. Back in the shotgun, Fletcher right off his left hip. 2 receivers to the far sideline. Tony comes across the formation in motion. Beck to pass. Beck has time. Beck scrambling, not under pressure. Beck to the near sideline, incomplete, looking for Tony. Fantastic coverage from the Indiana secondary. And now the first 3rd down of the game for the Miami offense is 3rd and 8.
It's easy to think with a quarterback like Carson Beck, who's in his 6th year and also played in a ton of really big games, that it's going to be hard to make him make mistakes. He won't throw a lot of interceptions. But he's played risky. That's what he's been. 23 combined interceptions on the last 2 seasons for Beck.
Miami, 47% conversion rate on 3rd down. That's top 10 in the country. Indiana is the best defense in the nation on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 8 here. From the Miami 45, Beck to pass, shotgun over the middle. Tony caught it, and he was tackled. Did he have enough? No, just a pickup of 4 yards approaching midfield, and Indiana's going to get off the field on the opening series defensively. In on the tackle, Isaiah Jones and Elijah Hardy. They gave Miami the check down, and Indiana gets off.
When you're playing in a tough environment like this, in a big game like this, there's always going to be a punch thrown by the other team. The question is, how do you respond? That big run to start it off, it looked like Miami had so much momentum and was the tougher team, and Indiana responded perfectly.
Dylan Joyce to punt. He stands at the Miami 34, rolls out, gets the punt away. A high booming kick. Jonathan Brady signals the fair catch and caught it right at the 4-yard line. So the junior out of Australia, Dylan Joyce, pins Indiana inside their own 5-yard line. But the Hoosier defense gets a stop on the opening series, and Mendoza and company coming out after this. We'll head to break. No score. 12:16 to go in the opening quarter. You're listening to WIUX, the national championship from Miami. Welcome back to Miami. Indiana and their defense, after giving up a first down on the first set of downs on the opening possession of the national championship, only gives up 4 yards after that, forces a Miami punt. And now the Hoosiers take over for the first time with 12-16 in the opening quarter offensively. Fernando Mendoza and this Heisman caliber offense. Ben, what do you want to see from them early on this ballgame?
I want to see them run the ball a lot out of the gate. I think that Indiana's gotten into some situations where they've gotten a little bit conservative when they haven't been able to run the ball. And I think at least what it does is tell you what you can do early.
Indiana, 6,915 yards as an offense this season. The only other school to get to 7,000 yards in one season in the Big Ten, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Mendoza in the offense out there. Fernando Mendoza, the redshirt junior, 6'5", 225, a Miami kid. Went to Christopher Columbus High School just 20 minutes from Hard Rock Stadium. And man, oh man, what a year Mendoza's had. Indiana's first ever Heisman Trophy winner. Indiana with the football, backs against the wall in the Hurricane student section led end zone. Mendoza in the shotgun, Hemby off his right hip. Fernando takes the snap, play action, complete to the far sideline. Cooper makes a man miss, a fantastic move, and muscles his way forward for a pickup of 10 yards. That's a first down on the opening play of the game. Cooper Jr. looked dead to rights by the free safety Poyser, but ducked his head, Ben, all the way down to his ankles to escape the tackle and picks up 10.
It really was tremendous, and that's what Cooper gets. It's the yards after catch for him.
First and 10 for the Hoosiers, now not backed up in their own territory as much. Mendoza in the shotgun, claps his hands together, it's a handoff. Hemby outside the right tackle, a stiff arm, now trying to get the edge, but he can't get there. Give Hemby 2.5. Jacoby Thomas wrapped him up and chucked him down. Second and long coming up.
Yeah, now having Xavier Lucas is big for Miami's defense, but why that's actually not as important is because Miami plays so many different players. There's a big rotation on the whole defense, but especially that secondary. They have so many different guys that can step up in place for Scott.
Mendoza, 47 combined touchdowns accounted for this season. Second and 9 from the Indiana 16-yard line. Mendoza takes the snap, he will pass. Fernando checks it down, far side, Roman Hemby caught and muscled out of bounds. A pickup of 2, Mohamed Torre wrapped him up. And man, Ben, you're seeing the physicality early on from this Miami team.
It's the physicality, but I think the physicality comes from the speed. This is one of the fastest teams in college football on both sides of the ball, and you can see it with the way they're getting to the ball.
3rd and 8 yards. The ball is at the Indiana 17. The line to gain is the 25. Mendoza in the gun. Fernando to pass. Under pressure. Drops back. Mendoza rolls out to the far sideline. Throws out of bounds. Incomplete. The Hurricanes storm Mendoza on 3rd down. And just like Indiana forced Beck and the Miami offense into Indiana, forced to punt.
That was not Messidor, and that was not Bain. That was a ridiculous play by Bryce Fitzgerald. Bull rushed Roman Hemby, the blocking back, and immediately got to Mendoza. It's the blitz package because you have to pay so much attention to the two ends.
Mitch McCarthy, the Indiana punter, standing at the IU 3-yard line. Back to receive Malachi Toney, the electrifying freshman. The punt is murdered right down the seam. Toney catches it at the 27. Toney weaves his way up the field. Now across the 40. Elijah Hardy stands him up at the 41. And a flag flies at the 38-yard line. You would have to think that's in the area of a hold. So the Hurricanes could be moving backwards. We'll see what the call is. It is holding on Miami. And we're not going to break. So, Ben, back-to-back punts to start the game. We knew this would be a physical game. We knew the environment would be rambunctious. But both of those defenses looked strong on the opening series. They each gave up 1 first down and then really buckled down.
Well, the nature of football, when there's so many nerves, it feels like the advantage always goes to the defense and being able to, play freely. I mean, that's kind of the kind of how it works with the defense. And you saw that, I think, with not so much Mendoza or any of the skill positions for Indiana being tense, but more the offensive line. They were a bit more timid than I've seen, and I think that they're playing 2 of the best defensive ends in college football, and that might be a big thing.
All right, after 2 series, 1 for each squad offensively, no score, 10:22 to go. It's a media timeout. We'll send it down to the sidelines. Nick Rodecap, what do you have for us?
Well, guys, there's been a lot of discussion this year about the size disparity between Indiana and its opponents. And before this game, I did some digging, and I found that on average, Indiana's D-line is 53 pounds smaller than Miami's offensive line. The Hurricanes average 331 pounds on the O-line. They've got 2 guys 345 pounds. Historically, though, Indiana has flourished against bigger offensive lines. There was about a 55-pound difference against Oregon. Indiana sacked quarterback Dante Moore 9 times in Oregon's 2 meetings with the Hoosiers. Moore took just 14 sacks all season. Defensive coordinator Bryant Haynes really good about getting his guys playing freely, playing vertical, and defensive lineman Tyreek Tucker told me at the Peach Bowl that's one of the best things a coach can do. So how will Bryant Haynes cook up against this Miami offensive line tonight? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but you have to imagine he's going to use Indiana's smaller stature and more speed to his advantage. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Nick. We know from your beat reporting days, you've built a legacy, a repertoire with the defensive coordinator Bryant Haynes of Indiana. Check out Nick's page for more on that. They go way back to early on this season talking about the size advantages between Indiana and the opposition. We'll step aside for 30 seconds on WIUX. No score in the Natty. 10:22 to go, opening quarter. 10 minutes, 22 seconds left in the first quarter of the national championship. Both teams punt, and now it's Miami's turn to get a second crack at it offensively. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. Take a look at this Indiana defense. IU's forced 3 turnovers and generates 2 turnovers on downs in that Peach Bowl win over Oregon. In 7 games this season, Indiana has 10 or more points off of turnovers. Ben, that's an element of their game that just continues to get better somehow every week.
Yeah, it's one of those things that almost comes off as random when they talk about it a lot, but what I think Indiana's defense done best this year is just make offenses look bad.
1st and 10, Miami with the football at their own 22-yard line. Carson Beck in the shotgun. Fletcher Jr. off his left hip. Beck takes the snap, hands it to Fletcher. In between the tackles, has a little bit of room. Landino drags him down at the 27-yard line. That's a pickup of 3 yards, brings up 2nd and 7. But I love how Nick touched on the battle of the line of scrimmage, and both of these two teams being probably the most 2 dominant teams from the line of scrimmage, but the size disparity is incredible.
It really is, but I think that size is such a big thing, but also the give and take. Indiana's defensive line is so much quicker than the offensive lines it's seen this year.
2nd and 7. Miami at their own 24-yard line. Back in the shotgun. It's another handoff. Fletcher straight up the middle, stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Landino Ratcliffe along with Aiden Fisher in there on the stop. It looks to be about 3rd and 7 coming up here. Miami moving left to right on your radio dial. 9:25 to go first quarter. No score. This Indiana defense, they force you into 3rd and long just about every single set of downs. And this is when they feast. Indiana's forced a turnover in 7 consecutive games. 3rd and 7. Beck in the shotgun, 2 receivers to each side. Carson Beck brings Marion in motion. Back to pass, drops back. 3-man rush for Indiana. Clean pocket over the middle, incomplete. Lewis Moore stuck his hand right in between Keelan Marion's over the middle and breaks up the pass. A 3-and-out for the Indiana defense, and they'll take the football right back with 8:54 to go.
Lewis Moore coming back to Indiana and already having an insane moment. You hear the roar of the crowd. They wanted a pass interference. They thought he got there early, and I think that's as perfectly as you could possibly play it. It was the right no call. And you expect him to have a big game as one of Indiana's more veteran guys.
Dylan Joyce out there to punt. Had a beauty inside the 5 his first time. He's not going to do that here. A punt down the near sideline. Brady runs up on it, calls fair catch at the 30. And that's where Mendoza and the Indiana offense will start this drive. So a lot better field position this timeout. We'll stick around here. We're not going to timeout. But the Indiana defense has already settled into this game. Lewis Moore made that play on 3rd and long. He has 6 interceptions on the season, now 3 pass breakups. But it's time for this offense to get going. And Ben, if you look back, the last couple of contests Indiana's had, whether it was Oregon, because of the pick 6 and the long Oregon drive, Mendoza didn't even get out there till 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And then in the Rose Bowl, they went 3-and-out on the first drive of the game. So sometimes it takes them that one drive to settle in before they're near perfect.
And they haven't had any issues getting settled in after that. I mean, truly, you look at the 2nd through 4th quarters in both of those games, 6 of the best offensive quarters for Indiana all year long. 2
receivers to the far sideline, just Charlie Becker to the near side. Kalon Black right off the left tip of Mendoza in the shotgun. Mendoza's going to pass on 1st and 10. Fernando drops back, now under pressure, rolling out right, rolling all the way out right. A flag is down. Mendoza throws across his body, looking for Becker. That's incomplete. Ruben Bain caused the pressure on Mendoza, ran him all the way out of bounds, but the flag looks to be in the area of a hold.
Yeah, and Luke, that's the 2nd blocker already for Indiana that's just been put on his behind. Drew Evans this time was the one that got bull rushed at the line of scrimmage, this time by a D lineman.
Extremely uncharacteristic out of Indiana to make any mistakes that are self-enforced, let alone in the penalty category. Indiana is in the top 5 teams of college football in offensive penalty yardage. So now it's 1st and 20. Ball spotted at the Indiana 18-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, E.J. Williams to the far. Mendoza in the gun. Hands, play action, over the middle, complete to Cooper Jr. at the 30. He breaks a tackle across the 35, a stiff arm above the 40. And he's finally taken down, a pickup of 28. And Omar takes all the penalty yardage right back a slant across the middle of the field, and Cooper Jr. did the rest.
So back to what I was saying earlier, this could be a game where Omar Cooper breaks out because I expect Indiana to have to get the ball out early. And again, Cooper's one of those guys who's so great after the catch to get some of that yardage.
He's paired up in this formation on 1st and 10 with Surratt to the near side along with the tight end Nowakowski. Kalon Black, the running back, right behind Mendoza. Handoff, Black bounces it up the middle, makes another man miss, and is just tackled by the shoelaces after a pickup of 6 yards to the 49-yard line. In on the stop for Miami, David Blade Jr. and the middle linebacker Wesley Basaint. That's more characteristic now on this second drive offensively. You pick up 6 yards on 1st down with a simple run up the middle.
It is always ahead of schedule, and that's where that kind of uncharacteristic part was surprising.
2nd and 4 at midfield for the Indiana offense. And a false start before the play is going to bump Indiana back 5 yards.
Now, they're talking about this. I could see this being defensive.
False start's going to get put on the right guard, Bray Lynch, the redshirt senior, 6'5", 311 pounds. Mendoza knew it immediately, clapped his hands together loud enough for our crowd microphone to pick up on it. Just trying to settle his guys in. You got to think of the nerves of Mendoza as the quarterback in this game, but coming back home, Ben, what this means to him. An under-recruited prospect eyeing the #1 pick in the NFL draft. For now, it's 2nd and 9. Indiana at their own 44-yard line. Play action. Mendoza, quick hitter to Surratt, near sideline complete. Across the 50, enough for a 1st down, muscling off the defender Ethan O'Connor. And Surratt showing that he can be a yards after catch type of receiver. That's a 1st down for Indiana to the Miami 46-yard line.
Going to be a lot of those quick hitters still on those quick passes. There's already almost someone to Mendoza. And again, no surprise, it's Mesidor and Bain both right there.
Surratt gave Ethan O'Connor a handful to eat on as he fought forward. Now in plus territory, 1st and 10 from the 46 of Miami. Handoff, Hemby up the middle, muscles forward. Taken down after a pickup of 4 yards. So another positive pickup to get Indiana ahead of schedule on 1st down. In on the tackle along with some help of other Hurricanes, the defensive tackle Armando Blunt. He exits to the sideline. Indiana moving right to left. No score, 6:15 to go, 1st quarter of the national championship. Fernando in the shotgun. Hard count, now walks up to the line of scrimmage. All the offensive linemen turn around. They get the new signal from their quarterback. Mendoza takes the snap, he's going to pass. Fernando has time, over the middle, complete to Nowakowski. Enough for the 1st down, he's still up and getting pushed forward right at the 33-yard line. So give Indiana 11 yards on the pitch and catch, a little curl route over the middle to the tight end Riley Nowakowski, and move the chains once again for the Indiana offense.
The reason that it works for Indiana to be able to get the ball out so quickly is because all parts of the field are open. You see quick hitters to the outside and ones to the middle like that to Nowakowski.
1st and 10. Ball spotted at the Miami 33-yard line. Cooper Jr. in motion. Mendoza. Play action. Near side. Surratt has him. He steps right out of bounds at the 29-yard line. That's a pickup of 5 yards on the pitch and catch. And that's that Indiana offense that if you're not familiar to watching them play, they play a unique style and they recruit quarterbacks like Mendoza who can get the ball out so quick where a pass like that can be as good as a run play on 1st down.
It does, and it opens it up a lot more. It's better when you can run it.
5 wide for Indiana. Mendoza alone in the backfield, 2nd and 4 in Miami territory. Fernando to pass, drops back, under pressure, looking down the middle, incomplete. The ball was batted, and Mendoza got buried. Mohamed Torre, the weak side linebacker, came in on a blitz. Mendoza never saw him and got his face planted right into the grass at Hard Rock Stadium. But Ben, I don't know if you saw it, the tight end Nowakowski was wide open down the seam. That's where Fernando tried to throw it, but the hit jarred the ball.
Torre came off the outside. There's so much attention by the tackles that have to be paid attention to the defensive ends.
3rd and 5, Indiana and Miami territory at the 28. Mendoza hands it off. Kalon Black has a hole, trucks a defender. 1st down, Indiana. Black picks up 8 on 3rd and 5 on a simple handoff up the middle. The muscle of the Hoosiers on full display. This running back room averages over 3.5 yards after contact, and Black pushes Indiana right on the doorstep of the red zone. The ball's at the 21-yard line.
It is scary when Kalon Black lowers his shoulder, and even with these strong defenders for Miami, it's going to be a big hit.
Ball at the 21, 1st and 10 for the Hoosier offense. Mendoza hands it to Black again. Weaves his way inside the tackle, give him 2.5 on first down. Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. In on the stop, the electrifying defensive end, Ruben Bain, along with Justin Scott.
So these are the kinds of drives that Miami actually wants for themselves, and actually not going to be happy or too upset with defensively, because it kind of feels inevitable at some point that Indiana is going to score. Now, obviously, that Miami would like to have the ball for more time of possession, but Indiana's top 3 in the country in time of possession.
2nd and 7 for the Indiana offense in the red zone. Ball at the 19. Mendoza, play action. He's going to run up the middle, and he's taken down right at the line of scrimmage. It looks like a miscommunication, or Fernando didn't commit to the QB draw. Ruben Bain and the nose tackle Blade Jr. read it the entire way. They're going to generously give Mendoza about 1.5 yards as he fell forward. So the ball's at the 16-yard line. It's 3rd and 6. No score, opening quarter of the national championship. 3:02 to go. The clock continues to run. 3 receivers to the near sideline. Mendoza in the shotgun. Indiana with their eyes on the end zone. Mendoza to pass. The blitz comes. Jump ball, far sideline. Knocked away, incomplete. O.J. Federic was all over Indiana's jump ball target, Charlie Becker. And one of the best red zone offenses in the country is going to have to settle for 3 here. That's fantastic defense from the Hurricanes.
They're almost lucky there wasn't a pick there, and I might say that there could have been an OPI. I don't think there's enough, but that ball had no chance for Charlie Becker.
Ben, we're towards the near end zone. I never even saw Becker. The defender had him blanketed. Nico Radicic out there for a 33-yard field goal. The snap is good. The kick is up and right down the middle. Radicic bangs it home, now 17 for 18 on the season. And Indiana leads in the national championship 3-0 with 2:42 to go in the first quarter. We'll step aside on WIUX, a 12-play, 55-yard drive that took nearly 6 minutes off the clock. And Indiana draws first blood, and the biggest one of them all. We'll be right back on WIUX. Back here in the 3:05. Indiana 3, Miami nothing. 2:36 to go, first quarter, national championship. Miami with the football after an Indiana field goal. This drive's going to start at the Hurricane 26-yard line. Indiana defense has now forced Miami to punt on their first 2 offensive possessions of the game. Miami really going to try and get their offensive line moving. Listen to the size on this Miami offensive line. 6'9", 6'6", 6'3", 6'6", and guess what? 6'6", the right tackle, Francis Moinoa. He's the Jacob Brooks Trophy Award winner, given the best offensive lineman in the country. 2:36 to go, first quarter. Ball at the Miami 26. Beck in the gun. Beck to pass. Drops back. Clean pocket. Looking for someone to the near side. Tipped up. Knocked away, and then it finally hits the ground. He was looking for the tight end Alex Bauman, and it was tipped originally by Elijah Hardy. Then Lewis Moore seemed to have his hands on it, and there wasn't another Indiana Hoosier in the area, or that could have been an interception.
After the tip, that ball still had a chance to be caught by Bauman, but who other than Lewis Moore to step in and intervene once again? He is all over these Miami receivers at tight end.
2nd and 10. Ball at the Miami 26. Indiana showing pressure. Back in the shotgun. Back to pass. The pressure's picked up. Throw near side. Knocked away. Sticky coverage. Welcome to D'Angelo Ponce Island in Miami. His hometown too. And it's 3rd and 10. He was all over the intended target, C.J. Daniels.
Actually had kind of an uncharacteristic, maybe his worst game in terms of coverage in that Peach Bowl. And guess what, Luke? He still won defensive MVP. It's because he makes such big, great plays and big hits on runs. There's just some really nice offensive plays made that really made it tough for him last time.
3rd and 10. Miami needs to get to the Indiana 36-yard line. Beck to pass in the shotgun. The blitz comes. Beck under pressure. Down goes Carson Beck. Aiden Fisher, the heart and soul of the Indiana defense, sacks Carson Beck, and it's 4th and forever. And here comes the punt team for Miami.
Luke, there's no life. I mean, zero life in this Miami offense right now. They can't get any movement up front. And again, Bryant Haynes, with his blitzes that he shows, blitzes that he pulls back, Aiden Fisher barely got touched running through the middle of the Miami offensive line.
It's 4th and 17. Out there for the 3rd time, Dylan Joyce. The punt is away. He barely got it off. Brady's going to let it bounce at the 40-yard line. Takes a massive Miami bounce. And now it's inside the 30, downed at the 32. So a really good punt from Dylan Joyce, the senior from Australia. And Indiana with a 3-point lead. It feels like I took a deep breath, maybe had a couple drinks of water, Ben, and suddenly Mendoza and the offense is right back out there.
That's what you see a lot, and it's a great thing for your offense to have the ball as long as they can, but it gets tiring sometimes for that offense when they're on the field so much because how great the defense is. But with those slow, methodical drives, it's an offense that's sort of built for it, and again, an offense that can really milk some time off the clock.
83 yards offensively for Indiana, just 18 for Miami. 1:38 to go in the first quarter. Hoosiers by a field goal. Mendoza hands it off to Hemby. He's under pressure, and Hemby's walloped. A loss of 5 on the play. Who else but the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Ruben Bain, on the tackle.
Luke, we kept saying in the playoffs for Indiana, go back to the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl, that we thought it was going to be a defensive battle. And really, it was Indiana's offense and Indiana's defense having the upper hand. Finally, you're starting to see a real defense taking shape and giving Indiana a challenge.
Make it 2nd and 16, a loss of 6 on the play from Bain. Mendoza in the gun. Fernando, handoff. Hemby right up the middle, picks up 1 yard. Ahmad Moten Sr., the redshirt junior defensive tackle, was all over Hemby. And you know it's a national title game, Ben, and you know it's some stiff competition. When Indiana and their offense now has 3rd and 15, you never see these situations. This is the 2nd time already in the opening quarter.
I was also surprised to see on a 2nd and 16 play Indiana run the ball. I guess we don't see Mike Shanahan in those situations a whole lot. I've liked what he's done a lot this year. Didn't love that call.
What will Indiana dial up? 3rd and a mile. The line to gain is the Indiana 31. Mendoza in the shotgun, Surratt to the near side, 3 receivers to the far sideline. Mendoza to pass, a screen pass, dump off to Hemby. He gets up to the 25, makes a couple miss, and tackled at the 26. That's 4th and 11, and that's an Indiana punt coming up. That takes us to the end of the first quarter. The Miami defense has come to play. The Stars are out in Miami, and it's a 3-0 Hoosier lead after 15 minutes. We'll be right back for the Indiana punt when we come back on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Back here in Miami, the sides flip. Indiana and Mitch McCarthy, their punting unit, 4th and 11 at their own 26-yard line. McCarthy stands at the Indiana 14. Malachi Toney, the best freshman receiver in college football, back to receive for the Canes. He stands at the 30-yard line of Miami. McCarthy takes the punt. Gets a nice punt away. Toney steps back, now catches it at the 29. Toney to return. Up across the 30, Toney slips, but he gets right back up. Breaks a tackle. Toney across the 35, calls for a block and knifes his way across the 40.
They'll review this, Luke. I'm not sure how he stayed up. He definitely slipped to the ground, but I guess there was no major limbs on the ground. I don't know how how he's able to get up and get more yards on it. They're looking at this.
If he stayed up, it's a 13-yard return and the best field position that
Miami his butt's
will
on the
have
ground
the entire game. So, Ben, what is that at the
I think it was a
32
Yeah, 32.
Line?
They caught it at 29, maybe 2 or 3 yards later.
Right now, Miami's in the huddle. There's no official signal just yet from the referees, and now the head judge is going to bring Miami back to the 31-yard line.
Look, it didn't seem like very much of a difficult call to me. He just fully went to the ground, and they just let him play. That's how, injuries could happen from those sorts of plays. I know you love to let him play and always, choose to not blow the whistle when a replay is a factor, but that didn't look very close.
Toney, an extremely slippery receiver, himself, but he completely wiped out. That negates the return. Give him 2 yards. 1st and 10 for Beck and the Miami offense, trailing by 3 at their own 31-yard line. Beck in the shotgun, running back to his left, Shamar Brown. Brown takes the ball up the middle, picks up 2 yards. Tackled by Landino. Aiden Fisher, the middle linebacker, the first guy in there as well. 2nd and 9 for Beck and company. They're going a little tempo now. Hurry up for Beck. The running back Brown goes out to the far sideline. 5 wide for Miami. Trips to the far sideline. 2 receivers to the near. Beck to pass. Looking left. Beck now looks right. Has C.J. Daniels. Fights forward at the 39. 3rd and 1 coming up. Lewis Moore made the stop right at the line to gain. We'll see if Miami decides to go quick here on 3rd and short. And the Hurricanes will huddle.
Luke, with an audible there, what Indiana had to do, Mikhail Kamara was lined up almost at a cornerback position from the end. And on that play, you didn't see as much pressure from Indiana's defense. They're trying to take one of their stars out of it. It's a smart play call by Miami.
3rd and short. Miami needs 2. Beck takes the snap, hands it off to Brown. Stood up at the line of scrimmage. He's short. Jones, Kamara, Aiden Fisher pumping up the Indiana crowd. And it's decision time for Miami. And a hesitant Mario Cristobal immediately sends out the punting unit. 2 consecutive 3-and-outs from the Indiana front.
Luke, one common opponent between both these teams was Ohio State, and both times each of them played Ohio State more of a defensive team. They're more defensive slugfests.
It is so physical with the big bodies in the trenches. Dylan Joyce, I've called his name more tonight than Carson Beck. The punter catches it, punts it away from the 32. A skyrocketing punt. Jonathan Brady back to take it at the 14. He calls a fair catch. And what do you know, a Hoosier defensive 3-and-out forced. Mendoza and the Indiana offense back out there after this. 12 minutes, 57 seconds to go. A 3-0 IU lead in the national championship. You're listening on your home for Hoosier Sports. 99.1 Bloomington, stick around. 2 of the most dominant defenses in college football dueling it out early on in the national championship game. It's 3 for Indiana, nothing for the Hurricanes of Miami. 12:57 to go in the second quarter. Indiana with the football. IU takes over at their own 14-yard line. But Ben, the story of the game so far, when you look at the Indiana offense, is Fernando Mendoza has been under pressure immediately. He was only pressured 6 times in the win against Oregon, 5 in the win against Alabama. He's already been under pressure 4 times tonight.
Yeah, it's been an issue. It's the right side of the offensive line for Indiana that's just getting killed. Nick Rodecap, our sideline reporter, pointed out one of the nastiest swim moves, I should say, that I've seen on Bray Lynch. I think it was from Moton. And we've talked about, too, Khalil Benson's getting his lunch eaten by whichever end's lined up across from him.
That's the right tackle for Indiana, Khalil Benson. Mendoza in the shotgun. Play action. Near side complete to Surratt across the 20. Fights his way forward to pick up a 13 on first down. That's as simple as play action. Surratt doesn't even move. Catches it and runs right at the defensive back, O.J. Federic. He eventually pushed him out of bounds after a pickup of Surratt's jersey number 13 and a first down for the Hoosiers. Indiana moving left to right. A 3-point lead in the national title game, second quarter, 12 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Kalon Black right off Mendoza's right hip. Fernando in the shotgun. Play action, slant route. Surratt knocked down, incomplete. Federic gets his get back from a play ago on the Surratt first down and swiped his arm all the way across Elijah's body. Incomplete, 2nd and 10.
That's 2 pass breakups already for Federic on Indiana's best receiver in Elijah Surratt. So many different corners from Miami can make an impact, but that is the underclassman at sophomore, Federic, making a big play.
Here comes the Miami crowd. 2nd and long. Football at the Indiana 27. Mendoza in the gun. Mendoza to pass. The blitz comes. Throw to Nowakowski. Makes the catch. Fighting his way forward. A couple of stiff arms dragging defenders with him. And it takes 5 Hurricanes to drag the Indiana tight end down at the 42-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and, say, 2.5 yards for the Indiana offense. It was a curl route. Nowakowski caught it. spun out of the first defender, and then the entire Miami defense had to take him down eventually.
With how great both defense have been, some of those missed tackles could end up being the difference like you saw there on Keontae Scott.
3rd and 2 at the Indiana 35-yard line. The Cane crowd in full effect in Miami. Mendoza, handoff, up the middle. Hemby, he breaks a tackle and gets the first down for Indiana. Give him 4 yards, he only needed 2. And that's a big early momentum boosting first down. Indiana had only run the ball for 2 yards a carry, but they got 4 right there on a critical down.
Also a team who might have an advantage is who can keep their defense on the sideline a bit longer, give their defense a chance to catch their breath. That's what Indiana's trying to do. Even if just having a longer drive, we've seen too many 3-and-outs for both sides.
1st and 10 for IU, ball at their own 40-yard line. Mendoza in the pistol, hands it off. Hemby outside. What a play right at the line of scrimmage. All over Hemby was the nickelbacker Keontae Scott. If that name rings a bell, it probably should. The redshirt senior had the pick 6 in Miami's 2nd-round win over Ohio State. That was really the turning point in that game. The Canes took over from there, and Scott makes a tackle for a loss. So now it's 2nd and 10 for the Indiana offense. Mendoza in the pistol. Miami showing 4. Surratt comes in motion. Mendoza, handoff. Hemby up the middle, stood up. David Blay Jr. and Ahmad Moten right there. Give him 2 yards. And here we go, another 3rd and long coming up for the Indiana offense, Ben.
They're going to go hurry up here, too.
Miami trying to get their guys off the field. Mendoza in the shotgun. Miami showing an all-out blitz. Mendoza under pressure, off his back foot, incomplete. Flag flies. Was looking for Surratt around the 40-yard line in Miami territory, and they're going to get Federic with pass interference.
Federic a little overzealous on that play. He's made a lot of nice deflections, but this time just too aggressive and grabs him, I think, too much. You can hear it raining down in Miami.
Indiana's offensive lineman, Carter Smith, the left tackle, is telling the crowd to calm down, but Smith is used to being in charge of the crowd. They just showed the replay on the Jumbotron, and Ben, Miami fans might have an argument.
Yeah, I don't know how much I saw there.
1st and 10 at the U's 46-yard line. Mendoza, handoff. Hemby, a tackle for a loss. Ahmad Moten Sr. wrapped him up. A loss of 2 yards on the first down carry. Wow, they are all over the Indiana running backs, Ben, and that is hard to do. IU averages 5.5 yards per carry. That's top 3 in college football.
It's not just Bain and Messidor. It's everyone on Miami's defense. It's also everyone on Indiana's offense that's had their struggles. We talked about the right side. That was Coogan who lost it there.
So the ball is back to the Miami 49. 2nd and 14. Fernando, handoff. Hemby again. Only gets a yard. Screaming off the edge that time was Mesidor. He pairs up with David Blay Jr., the nose tackle. And I think now with 9 minutes left in this first half, Ben, you got to start asking the question. This Indiana offense, yes, they've run the ball well, but they're playing extremely passive in these 2nd and 3rd and long situations, and Indiana calls timeout. Miami is all over this Heisman offense right now.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. I think you have too many worries about possibly Mendoza getting hit and how quickly they're getting to the quarterback. And what you could do with establishing the run game is at least open up a little bit. But, man, I don't know. What are you waiting for? You waiting for your defense to finally give one up and then you get aggressive? Doesn't make too much sense to me.
Well, it must be difficult to be in uncharted territory when Indiana's been ahead of the chains all season long. But Miami has pushed them back time in and time again. Still a 3-point lead for Indiana, 9:08 to go in the second quarter. There's a couple good storylines when it comes to hometown kids coming back to Miami for the national championship. We send it down to the sidelines and our Nick Rodecap for more.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Energy is palpable here at Hard Rock Stadium for the fans and players alike. And when you have 58 players participating in this game who were born in the state of Florida, it's easy to see why. Of course, Miami has the bulk of those, 49 of 58, but plenty of notables for both teams. Indiana, of course, the Mendoza brothers, Fernando winning the Heisman, off to a relatively cold start tonight on account of Miami's front seven, led by edge rusher Ruben Bain. Both of those men born right here in Miami. Both of them consensus All-Americans. Ruben Bain leads the Miami Hurricanes with 8.5 sacks, and he has been getting his in the trenches so far in this one. Also for Miami, head coach Mario Cristobal played with none other than Fernando Mendoza Sr. at Christopher Columbus High School right here in the 305. And Mario Cristobal as well began his coaching career at Florida International here in Miami. Of course, for Indiana in the secondary, D'Angelo Pons, a Miami native as well. So too is Jamari Sharp, Malachi Toney from Liberty City, not far from the airport, the star Miami wide receiver who was the ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year. Plenty of local ties to this game. The Miami guys playing for the U, the pride in their home state. And for Indiana, in particular Fernando Mendoza, maybe a little bit of a chip on some of these guys' shoulders, knowing that perhaps they were overlooked by Miami among a whole host of other schools. Back to you guys in the booth.
Nick Rodecap on his game as always, a senior in the WIUX program. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. The final game of an unbelievable season for WIUX football. Ben, who likes commercials? Let's stick here throughout the remainder of the timeout. We'll be back in game in about 30 seconds of time. It's 3rd and 13 for the Indiana offense at the Miami 48-yard line. So if you can pick up, say, 8, 9, 10 yards here, you are in a 4-down territory situation. What do you look to see Indiana do offensively?
Put the ball in the air for the first time in a few plays, and I think you might see a quick hitter across the middle again, because it might be that 4-down territory mindset and just try to make it fourth and manageable.
Indiana and Fernando Mendoza onto the field. The Miami defense, they're fired up, playing with a lot of momentum. Guys like Jacoby Thomas, Mohamed Toure, Keontae Scott. How about the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Ruben Bain? He's made his presence felt. This Miami defense, how about this? 47 sacks on the season. They're coming after Mendoza here. 3rd and 13, ball at the Miami 48-yard line. Mendoza in the gun. They got the hard count. Miami jumped. A free play for Mendoza over the middle. Incomplete. Was looking for Cooper Jr. Mendoza got laid out by Akeem Mesidor. Mesidor turned around, said something to Mendoza, but before the play, Miami looked to jump off sides. That could bring up a 3rd and 8 situation. That's a great setup out of a timeout from Indiana offensively. A hard count gets Ruben Bain to jump, and now it's 3rd and a little bit more manageable, 3rd and 8.
Still that 4-down territory, too, so this sets up really nice. You might see another run here for Indiana.
I was going to say, don't be surprised if you see offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan dial up a little draw play here to try and surprise Miami. 7 guys on the line of scrimmage for the Hurricanes. They now back off. They look to still show pressure up the middle. Mendoza from the gun. Handoff. Black. A hole. A first down. Inside the 25. Kalon Black. 18 yards on the 3rd and long handoff. In Indiana knocking on the door of the red zone. Here comes the hurry-up offense. Mendoza in the shotgun. Pass near side. Cooper Jr. inside the 20. Stops, but he doesn't go anywhere. Cooper Jr. couldn't fool the free safety, Zachariah Poyser. And it's a pickup of, say, 3 yards on first down, 2nd and 7. Ball at the Miami 20-yard line. Indiana will now slow things down.
Yeah, Luke, on that big run, finally Indiana picked up the blitz. Everybody had a man covered, or everybody on Miami was covered.
8:11 to go, first half. Indiana by 3 in the red zone, 2nd and 7. Mendoza, pass, near side. Becker caught at the 12, inside the 10, pushing his way forward. Becker, did he score? Yes! Charlie Becker fights his way through the Hurricane defense. A 20-yard touchdown reception, and Indiana draws first blood in the national championship. It's 9-0 in Miami.
Luke, that's an awesome play. We're looking at the monitor, though. This one's going to come back. He stepped out of bounds all the way up at about, I think it was maybe the 6-yard line, around the 5. Nonetheless, still a great play.
Oh, just his pinky toe stepped out of bounds. And the Miami crowd just saw it. It was an out route to the near sideline. Becker caught it at the 13 and dragged 5 Miami defenders with him to the end zone.
So both front sevens in both contests up front, Luke, have been won by the defense on both sides of the ball, Indiana's defense and Miami's defense. Now the difference is Indiana's skill positions have just been tougher than Miami's, and they have the advantage over the secondary of Miami, and that's plays like that. Charlie Becker dragging 4 defenders with him.
So, Ben, I'm trying to calculate where exactly Becker stepped out of bounds.
I think this is about the 6. So it's still going to be a first down. Still a great play and huge for Indiana. Yeah.
Nobody touched Becker until he got 10 yards.
Yeah.
As they continue to look at this, we'll take a 30-second break. Indiana has first and goal. When we come back, excuse me, we're not going anywhere. An expedited review, that was quicker than normal. And the call is overturned. First and goal for Indiana from the 6-yard line.
Man, that would have been an awesome championship moment for Becker. What a play. Still is a really good play, but Indiana's great in these red zone situations.
Mendoza jumps up, puts his knee to his hands right around his chest area. First and goal. Indiana, one of the best red zone teams in the country all season. It's got them to this point. Ball spotted at the Hurricanes' 6-yard line. Mendoza in the shotgun. Becker comes in motion. Fernando, a handoff. Black up the middle, stood up at the line of scrimmage. The middle linebacker, Wesley Besaint, filled the A-gap and completely wrapped up Kalon Black. A pickup of 1. It's still second and goal now from the 5-yard line.
And something to note, as our Nick Rodecap on the sideline lets us know, Khalil Benson has been benched at the right tackle position. It's Ademola Ajani who has taken over. We talked about maybe wanting him over both Benson and Zed Michalski if you're an Indiana fan.
Ajani, a redshirt freshman, playing in the national title. Mendoza in the gun. Second and goal from the Miami 4-yard line. Fernando claps his hands, takes the snap, handoff, Black muscling forward, stopped right at the goal line. It's going to be third and goal from the 1.5-yard line. A positive pickup of 3 yards on second down. And Indiana's bringing in an extra offensive lineman, the guy that they benched. It's Khalil Benson back into the game, Charlie Becker to the bench.
It's 2 extra offensive linemen of the game here, Luke. Both Benson and Michalski come in. There's 7 offensive linemen in the huddle right now for Indiana.
I formation for Indiana. The lead back is Kalon Black. Timeout, Mario Cristobal and Miami.
Yeah, they're going to talk this over, and I think it's because you see a lot of jumbo sets with the 6 offensive linemen. I don't know how many times, I can maybe count on one finger, I've seen 7 offensive linemen at a play. Indiana's getting bold here.
All right, media timeout. You know what that means. No commercials on this broadcast. We're going down to the sidelines. Nick Rodecap, third and goal for Indiana, up by 3. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. Of course, in a national championship game, there are a lot of historical implications, but it seems like for the last month and a half, every single game Indiana has played has been the biggest game in program history. First, it was hunting an undefeated regular season, then the first outright Big Ten title in 80 years. Then after that, a bowl game win for the first time since 1991, and now Indiana looking to become the first major college football team with a 16-0 record since Yale did it all the way back in 1894, which may or may not have been Carson Beck's freshman year of high school. On the other side of the ball for Miami, the Hurricanes, of course, looking for their 6th national title, their first since 2001, and if the Hurricanes can win tonight, they would be the first team to win a national title in their home stadium since Miami did it back in 1991, beating Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. It's not all that often you see a team play for a title in its home venue, but Miami gets that advantage tonight. And yet still, as I look around, it feels like there's about a 10 to 20 percentage point advantage for Indiana fans over Miami fans. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Nick. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Third and goal on the Miami 1-yard line when we come back. Indiana leads 3-0, 6:17 to go in the first half. Miami 14 total plays tonight. Indiana, well, they're about to run the 14th play of this drive. It's 3rd and goal from the Hurricane 1-yard line. Indiana leads Miami 3-0 with 6 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the second quarter. Alongside Ben Haller, I'm Luke Brennaman. We got you dialed in all night on WIUX Indiana Student Radio. Indiana getting their rushing attack going a little bit more on this drive. They're trying to score right in front of the Miami student section. Mendoza breaks the huddle. I formation for Indiana. Kalon Black in the backfield. Mendoza hands it to Nowakowski. He's in! Touchdown, Indiana! The Hoosiers storm into the Hurricane end zone and are a PAT away from a 10-point lead in the national title. A handoff to the tight end Nowakowski, who was the first guy behind Mendoza in the I formation. That's a look we haven't seen all season from Indiana, and Nowakowski did a really good job of navigating his way into the end zone.
It's just strength on strength, and Nowakowski did have one of those touchdowns to the fullback spot against Kennesaw State earlier this year, but it's just as many lineman bodies as you can put out there, and I'm surprised they wanted to take it at Miami, who's been so great up front, and they won.
Radicic bangs home the extra point. He's 85 of 85 this year, and Indiana has a 2-possession lead, 10-0, 6:13 to go in the national championship game. Ben, what a drive that was. That's an Indiana football drive. Right down your throat with physicality. 14 plays, 85 yards, 6.5 minutes off the clock, and it ends with the tight end Riley Nowakowski scoring on a rushing touchdown.
Luke, I think what makes it so Indiana is what came before the touchdown and all the struggles offensively, then being able to respond really well with a drive like that they put together. It's tough to put those slow, methodical drives together when you're not getting anything offensively because it takes so many plays. You talked about it, 14 plays on that one. When your defense has only played 14 plays, that's kind of how this game's just gone.
Brennan Franke, nope. So Brendan Franke, who took the first kickoff of the game for Indiana, has been replaced by the punter Quinn Warren. Warren out there, boots it away. A line drive kick. Marion lets it go through the end zone. So the first 2 kickoffs of the game from Franke were returned by Marion. And now they bring in Quinn Warren because they say we don't want Miami returning the football. So a touchback it is. The Hurricanes take over at their own 25-yard line, and they trail by 10. So if Carson Beck is going to continue this slow start, Miami fans are really hoping that it starts right now. He's only 3 of 7 for 16 passing yards. Miami's run the ball 7 times for a total of 10 yards on the ground. It is Indiana dominance on the defensive side of the football right now. 1st and 10 from the Miami 25. Beck in the gun. Handoff. Fletcher Jr. trying to find a hole. The offensive line pushes him forward. That's a really strong pickup of 6 yards. Fletcher looked to have nowhere to go. There wasn't a hole. He just stayed behind his offensive line and just allowed himself to fight forward. A pickup of 6 on 1st down.
Yeah, that was one of those weird plays where Indiana didn't really have a ton of guys blitzing, and Aiden Fisher had this really calm down nose tackle Tyreek Tucker. He was going at one of the offensive linemen of Miami. They've done a really good job eliminating those extracurricular and kind of unsportsmanlike penalties all year long.
Kurt Cignetti touched on that earlier this week in one of his press conferences. People have been estimating that this game could get chippy. Mario Landino is continuing to slap the nose tackle Tyreek Tucker. Tell him to get in the game. 2nd and 5. Miami at their own 30-yard line, trailing by 10. 5 minutes to go first half. Beck. Handoff. Fletcher has a hole, but he's tripped at the last second by Isaiah Jones. He got 3 yards on the 2nd down run. 3rd and inches from the Miami 34-yard line. The line to gains the 35.
That was a potentially big game-saving or big play-saving tackle by Isaiah Jones. There was some room for Fletcher to move after that level.
Jones had 6 tackles in the Indiana Peach Bowl win against Oregon, 2 for a loss. 3rd and inches. Fletcher Jr. right behind Beck. He gets the football. He's stuffed. Fletcher short. Can anybody get an inch on third down against the Indiana front? Fisher, Kamara, Farrell fill in the gap.
They're going to keep the offense out, it looks like.
Feel like you
I
have
don't believe
to,
this. You're a little too far in your own territory for me to really like this call if I'm a Miami fan.
Miami bringing in 3 extra offensive linemen along with the tight end. Indiana subbing off all of their secondary. Here come the big boys. Hosea Wheeler, Tyreek Tucker, Landino, Ratcliffe. Everybody's on the line of scrimmage. 4th and inches. Beck in the I formation. Beck hands it off. Fletcher at the line of scrimmage. Did he get it? It looks like he did, Ben. It would be by a whisker. He's up to the 35. Indiana is pointing like they have the football. Curt Cignetti is standing right at the line to gain, and it's a first down for Miami. The handoff to Fletcher works, and a huge sigh of relief from the Hurricane faithful in Miami.
Look, that was a playoff or a football junkie's dream, that play. I mean, there was no chance that was going to be anything other than a run up the middle on the 4th and short, and both teams just put all their eggs in one basket. Miami just needed the inch, though.
First down, Miami with the football at their own 35. 3 minutes to go. Play action for Beck. Beck drops way back, looking for a deep shot. Has a man. C.J. Daniels run out of bounds at the Indiana 40-yard line. And we might have a fight going on at the 35 in the other direction. Elijah Hardy was tackled into the ground by the right guard, Inez Cooper. No flags on the play. Miami going hurry up, now in Indiana territory.
That was a play that Miami desperately needed just to show any sign of life in the passing game. And yeah, Luke, it's getting real chippy. That's what you get when you have 2 teams this great up front.
C.J. Daniels, the Miami receiver who caught the 25-yard Beck strike, now over 500 yards through the air this season. 1st and 10 at the IU 40. 2:45 to go first half. Beck, quick screen pass, Tony trying to break a tackle, and there's 4 Indiana Hoosiers all over him. Give him 2 yards on the first down pitch and catch. Look out for Malachi Tony. He may be just 5'8", 188 pounds, but the freshman receiver was the ACC Rookie of the Year, and he has over 1,100 yards receiving.
Yeah, what makes Tony so special, he's your stereotypical short, speedy slot receiver. A lot of times you don't see those guys get on the field as early as freshman year because they're smaller like that. Sometimes they're prone to getting hit pretty hard, but Tony's aggressive for being that small.
2nd and 8, Carson Beck in the gun. Shamar Stewart off his left hip, timeout. And it's the 2-minute timeout. So we'll step aside. Indiana leads 10-0 in the national championship, but after a 25-yard third down conversion for the Hurricanes, Miami trying to get something going offensively and put some points up on the board to end the first half. We'll be right back on 99.1 Bloomington, your home. Miami trails by 2 scores, but they're in Hoosier territory. Take a look at the Miami Hurricanes. Location, well, about an hour and a half south of Hard Rock Stadium in Coral Gables, Florida. The enrollment just under 20,000 students, and this is a legendary football program. Miami's playing for their 6th national championship since 1980. They trail only Alabama's 7 appearances in that category. My, oh my. It's kind of a clashing of the Titans here when it comes to 2 different storylines. Yes, Miami has won 5 national championships, but they haven't been here since 2001, Ben. And then Indiana, they couldn't spell national championship. They couldn't even spell bowl game. But suddenly Curt Cignetti arrives. Cignetti's 26-2 in 2 seasons, the greatest run of all time in the first 2 years of a Big Ten head coach. And look where we meet. Right now it's Indiana 10, Miami nothing. 1st and 10 at the IU 40-yard line. Beck hands it off. Pons comes out of nowhere, out of the nickel position, and stuffs the running back Shamar Brown. Pardon me, that was 2nd and 10. So now it's 3rd and 8 after the 2-yard pickup. Pons an ankle tackle there, showing off his athleticism. Dove horizontally and could only get his left forearm on Brown, but it was enough to bring him down. 1:30 to go in the first half. Carson Beck in the shotgun. 3rd and 8 at the Indiana 38. Beck to pass, screen pass, complete. Marion Is it enough for a first down? He's a yard and a half short. Coming off the edge, the defensive end, Mikhail Kamara, wrapped him up. That is unbelievable hustle and awareness to read that screen pass from his position. 4th and 2. The ball is at the Miami 38. It would be a 55-yard field goal. The Hurricane kicker, Carter Davis' career long is 53. The clock runs under 1 minute, and Miami has their offense on the field. There's only 12 seconds left on the play clock. Miami's got to call a timeout here.
Yeah, they definitely will. I think that they want to. Another big thing is obviously milking the clock, so Indiana doesn't have much time on their next possession. And
so the Hurricanes let it go all the way down, call a timeout with 1 second left. When you start thinking go or not, you play your options in field goal range. A 55-yard field goal. It would be a 49-yard field goal from this spot. The ball's at the 32-yard line. So you're in range, but Davis on the season is 17 of 23. He missed a 51-yarder against Ole Miss last week. Yeah. I don't know. This Indiana front hasn't given Miami an inch, but 4th and 2 may seem like one that you roll the dice a little bit here.
Maybe, but I tell you what, it has not been a sure thing, Miami getting 1 yard, let alone 2.
Well, forget whatever the heck I just said. Carter Davis is out there to attempt a 49-yard field goal. Dylan Joyce the holder. Davis, snap is good. Kick is up. It's drifting out right. Did it get there? It hits off the goal post. No good. A doink in Miami, and Indiana protects a 10-point lead with 33 seconds to go in the first half.
That's a tough decision, Luke. You're all the way out of the hashes, too. And it looked good initially. It just drifted a little too much at the last second for Davis. The hold was perfect.
So now Indiana and their offense is out there. The ball is at the IU 32-yard line. Indiana gets the football offensively to start the second half of play. There's 33 seconds left. Indiana has 2 timeouts. How aggressive is Curt Cignetti in this situation?
Fully aggressive. If it's been any indication, he hasn't really been aggressive so far. But.
Mendoza in the shotgun. It's a handoff. Kalon Black up the middle, gets about 5 yards, drags the defender forward. That was Mohamed Toure. And the clock continues to run. Indiana is going to call it a first half of football. Curt Cignetti decides to not be aggressive. The clock's now under 12 seconds, but Mendoza in a hurry-up offense. Indiana snaps the football. 9 seconds to go. Mendoza to the near side. Becker, it's caught right at the 50-yard line. That's enough for a first down. So now you really scratch your head, because if you would have called a timeout after the black run, you have 9, maybe even 12 seconds left, still with the timeout. And one more play like that gives you a Hail Mary field goal. There's only 3 seconds left. It's 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line.
Yeah, it sort of feels like Curt Cignetti's in in-between land right now of whether he wanted to be aggressive. He threw the ball. I mean, usually when you're going to mail it in and you don't call the timeout, you just run the ball to avoid any sort of disaster. But you throw a quick out route that wasn't really close enough to the sideline to get out of bounds. I don't really get it.
Now with 3 seconds left, Miami has, I'm going to say it now because of the first half that they've had, the best pass rush in the country.
Yeah.
And with these two teams coming into tonight combining for 92 sacks, you would find it hard to believe that any quarterback could get a throw off from the 50-yard line, depending on how much pressure Miami decides to bring. Mendoza talks to the quarterback's coach for Indiana, Chandler Whitmer. What a fantastic inaugural season Whitmer's had in that role.
Yeah. But that's who Cignetti is. He said when he came in here that he prides himself, the biggest thing is being good with working with quarterbacks.
Tino Sunseri was the Indiana quarterback's coach last year under Curtis Rourke's campaign. So Indiana breaks out. Hemby in the backfield, trips receivers to the near side. 5 seconds to go. They adjust the clock. Mendoza in the gun. Mendoza drops back, now under pressure, steps up, launches towards the near sideline. It's not going to get to the end zone, and it's intercepted but out of bounds by Jacoby Thomas. That was as good as Fernando probably could have done. He threw it right to the pylon. Not an Indiana receiver was there yet. And that's the end of the first half from Miami. A 10-point Indiana lead, and it's in shutout fashion. 10-0 Hoosiers. Ben, your first half takeaways.
Miami's played Indiana a lot closer than they saw in the first couple of games. We did see a 17-0 game in Bama. It was the second half where Indiana really blew them out. Against Oregon, it was more of a first half. They gave up a couple of big plays in the second half to Oregon. So I don't really know what to expect right now with this team. I mean, this is kind of uncharted territory in terms of coming into a place and being up 10 at half. And Miami just has so many questions to answer offensively in the second half, obviously with no points. And we'll see how they answer those.
Take a look at the numbers. Mendoza, 12 of 17 in the first half, 116 yards. Did not throw for a touchdown. It was a handoff to the tight end Riley Nowakowski for 1 yard on 3rd and goal. That's the only touchdown of this contest. Indiana's outgaining Miami by exactly 100 yards. That's 169 to 69 in that department. But where Indiana's winning this football game is they've limited Miami to just 20 rushing yards, and Carson Beck is 6 of 10 for just 49 through the air. It has been a Hoosier defensive masterclass. For more down on the sidelines before the halftime show of our main man Jack Schneider in the studio, let's send it down there to Nick Rodecap.
Thanks, guys. Indiana leading 10-0 at halftime. The Hoosiers, per ESPN Insights, have scored 198 points in the second quarter this year. That's first in the FBS. Bad news for Miami, because LSU in 2020 is the only team, the last team, I should say, to overcome a 10-point deficit to win a BCS or CFP championship game. The largest comeback is 18 points, which Florida State did under the leadership of Jameis Winston back in 2014. So you feel like if the Hoosiers can score coming out of the halftime break, it's going to be very tough sledding for Miami. Back to you guys in the booth.
Great first half out of you, Nick. Thanks for all your help down on the sidelines. We're going to catch a break up here. The Indiana defense, man, is Miami ever going to score? That's my first half takeaway. 10-0 IU leads, 30 minutes away from a national championship for the first time in Hoosier history. Ben Haller will be on the play-by-play when we come back for the second half. But for now, we send it to the studio and Jack Schneider for the halftime show on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports.
30 more minutes to decide a national champion and see if we get the final chapter of one of the greatest stories in college football history. Indiana got a 10-point lead over Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, and they have the ball out of the break. Ben Haller alongside Luke Brennaman, Nick Rodecap is down on the sideline. Jack Schneider holding it down in the studio. Luke, that first half, we talked about it kind of out there. It doesn't feel like Miami's ever going to score a point.
Well, the first half was interesting because it feels like Miami forced this game into a scenario that Miami wanted it to be. A physical, gritty, almost kind of dirty first half. I mean, we were calling the game, Ben, but you start looking back at some of the hits Mendoza took after he threw the ball. The line of scrimmage is extremely chippy right now. Guys are hooting and hollering at the referees just about every single play because a leg was tangled up. They're wondering if something was twisted at the bottom of piles, and that's how Miami was really going to win this football game. Not in a dirty fashion, obviously, but I'm saying in the trenches, if they can physically wear down Indiana, which at points in that first half the Hurricanes did, but Indiana's proving, like they have this entire season, Ben, they can beat you however they want to beat you. And a 10-point advantage in large part because of one extremely long 15-plus play drive, and the defense doing what they've done all year.
Just 69 total yards of offense in that first half from Miami. They showed a crazy stat there in the second quarter about in that second quarter, Indiana had a 14-play drive. At that point, Miami had only run 14 plays offensively in the whole game. Time of possession has just been dominated by Indiana, 18:09 to 11:51 in Indiana's favor. Miami finally put together a pretty nice drive thanks to one big play at a 25-yard reception to C.J. Daniels, and then they couldn't get anything after that. 3 good defensive plays for Indiana, forced a field goal, a deep one, about 49 yards, and Carter Davis missed it. Indiana offensively, that one long offensive drive is the recent one. Before that, the first drive of the game, Indiana got a field goal. Other than that, though, it's kind of the same as Miami's offense, just not being able to move the ball.
Yeah, but one long drive can really wear down the Miami defense. And in Indiana, they've had a lot of blowout wins this season, now into the playoff, a pair of them. But, Ben, they really only start come the second half. Sure, maybe a 14, 17-point advantage is greater than 10 at a break like this. But nonetheless, the way they beat you is they go on those long drives in the first half, they wear your offense down, then they start generating turnovers, and when Mendoza gets the football, the floodgates open for the rushing attack and the rest of the receivers. So I think Indiana is exactly on schedule. Whenever you can lead at halftime of a championship game by more than one score, I think Curt Cignetti's going to take it and run with it. But Miami, they're going to have a punch, Ben. If you want a bold prediction for the second half, there's going to be a trick play from this offense. Carson Beck has got to get something going, because right now this is a guy in the 6th year of college football, and he has every personal accolade when it comes to national championships or wins, or maybe picking up $4.5 million when it comes to the transfer portal before this season. But what he's got to do is come perform for the next 30 minutes under center. He was non-existent, only 10 times passing the ball, 6 completions, below 50 yards through the air.
Indiana 10, Miami 0, and in the second half you do see the return of Miami defensive back Xavier Lucas, who was ejected from last game and suspended for the first half of this game due to a targeting call that was upheld after review. Halftime clocks reaching zeros, and Miami will kick away. They got the ball first, got 1 first down, and then Indiana forced them to punt. So Davis will kick away to Roman Hemby and Solomon Van Horst receiving. 50-50 crowd, pretty close to it at Hard Rock Stadium. A lot of red and a lot of orange. And a kick from Davis is away, and the second half's away. 1 half left in the 2025-26 college football season. It's through the end zone. Indiana gets started at the 25.
This drive is huge right here, Ben. Mendoza and the offense, if they can go get points, whether it's 3, a touchdown would be an early dagger into the second half of this football game. But now you see if the first half pays off, the physicality, the line of scrimmage battle. How much more does Miami have left? Because they could really show you something here if they continue to dominate the Indiana front into the third quarter.
A lot of quick throws in that first half for Mendoza. He's got 116 yards receiving. He'll come out in the gun with the running back Kaylon Black on his left hip and twins to his right. Takes the snap, handoff up the middle, and nowhere to go for Kaylon Black. He is stood up a yard after the line of scrimmage by Ahmad Moten Sr., the nose tackle.
The free safety, Poyser, also came sprinting downhill. He made a big impact on this play as well. Really finished off the Miami front. They're winning right at the line of scrimmage, and the rest of the guys are contributing.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 25. Ball on the far side hash. Same formation. Twins to the far side of the field. Claps his hand, takes a snap. 3-step drop back, looks right. Flushed out of the pocket. He's dropped all the way at the 15-yard line. And who other than Akeem Mesidor leads this team with 10.5 sacks, and he's making his name known in the championship.
And he's not done yet, Ben. Mesidor can smell a dozen sacks. This guy is relentless. Ruben Bain gets all the credit. He gets all the hype. Mesidor now has more than 11 sacks. He's a game wrecker on his own.
Forward progress puts it at the 18. It's 3rd and 17. What could Indiana draw up? Ball at the middle of the field, and a man coming in motion. Shotgun snap, it's a run off left tackle at a few yards picked up, but a face mask going to be called in from the back. It was handed off to Kaylon Black, and Justin Scott, the defensive tackle, made the tackle, but also had to put his hand on the face mask of Black, and this might be huge for Indiana's offense.
When you run the ball on 3rd and 18, Ben, you are surrendering the drive. And for Black to get 5 yards and you see his neck rip back.
It is a face mask call. That is 15 yards and an automatic first down on 3rd and 17 where Indiana handed the ball off. The kind of mistakes you can't afford when you can't score.
Sometimes to win a national championship, you got to catch a break. Curt Cignetti, talking to Holly Rowe at halftime, said, I'm fed up with this. My quarterback is in danger. He's getting hit too hard. They haven't called a personal foul. Where you get a personal foul the old-fashioned way. You can't grab a guy's face mask. The referees are on it this time.
10-0 Indiana. Just the start of the third quarter. They got the 1st and 10 at the 38. Kaylon Black, a left hip in Mendoza. Man in motion, and it's handoff wide up the middle, banging it inside to power forward for maybe a couple, but again, nowhere to go. It was Roman Hemby, rather, not Kaylon Black. And again, the rotation of defensive tackles, this time Justin Scott makes the play.
Keontae Scott, another guy that they're bringing in now from the secondary, the nickel backer there came in early, timed the snap perfectly off the edge, forced Hemby to cut it back up the middle. Miami is relentless.
2nd and 9 for Indiana. Twins to the left. Nowakowski going in motion to his normal tight end spot. Taps his hand, takes a snap, rolling out right. He's going to throw right, and he throws incomplete for a man in double coverage. All the way at the 45. He was looking for a deep one and looking for Surratt, and he threw it short.
See, that's not a throw that we're accustomed to Fernando Mendoza even offering at, Ben. There was nobody open. All the receivers were running right to left across the formation towards the Indiana sideline. The two guys that were there by the time Mendoza rolled out were in double coverage, and Fernando still threw it. So Miami wants to get Mendoza to a point where he has to make a bad decision, and he almost did right there.
Another 3rd and long for Indiana. They will go twins to both sides. Ball at the middle of the field at the 39. It's 3rd and 9. Mendoza got a clean pocket. Now is getting flushed out and hit from behind. Dropped at the 30-yard line by Messidor and Bain again.
That's a Miami defense on that drive right there, Ben. You get a little taste of Messidor. You get Bain to finish it off. The secondary and nickel backers coming in to stop the run. Whew. The Canes are playing at home, and they may be down 10, but a hungry dog is something nobody wants to see in a national title game. That's a fantastic opening series from their defense.
Indiana could have come out in the second half and made it a 3-score game, punched him in the mouth. That might have changed things, but Miami's defense stays strong. McCarthy to punt. It's a line drive and a pretty good one. Tony's going to field it at the 20-yard line. He's got some space up the middle, and he's got the sideline to the 35. He's pushed out of bounds and about the 38. So about an 18-yard return for Malachi Tony. That brings us to a media timeout. So the 2-score advantage for Indiana, but Miami keeps the defensive intensity and forces Indiana to punt. First time we see Carson Beck and his final half of his long college football career. We got it all right here on WIUX. Who can respond better after halftime? 1 half left of the season, and Miami's defense did what they needed to out of the break and really looked like they made Fernando Mendoza uncomfortable, which is a lot what they did in the first half. And Luke, you made a comment, kind of looks similar to what Penn State did against Indiana earlier this year.
Yeah, where it felt like as dynamic as Indiana's receivers can look at times, they never really have a chance when Mendoza's head goes down originally. You kind of get those happy feet. Yeah, he's kind of an awkward visual runner. But Mendoza doesn't have the speed to roll out and outrun a Messidor or Bain or the rest of these guys chasing after him. So he needs a clean pocket, whether that's 2 seconds or 3 seconds. He can get it out quick, but right now he has no time, and that's an outstanding opening stop for Miami's defense. They have pretty good field position here for that punt, Ben.
Indiana still did end up winning that Penn State game with a game-winning touchdown from Omar Cooper. They finished the season, or coming into this one, 15-0. Here comes Carson Beck for the first time in the second half. Drive started from their own 38. Twins to the right for Beck. Takes the shotgun snap. Short drop back, clean pocket, has a man of the first down marker. It's caught at about the 44-yard line. It's going to be just short. He found his tight end, Alex Bauman. And a second and call it 3 coming up.
He's kind of sat down in the soft spot of the Indiana zone there. Just a little curl route, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that from Miami. That's a good sign because Miami on first and second down was getting nowhere. To pick up 5 yards there, that's a good spot to be.
Ball's on the near side hash. Miami trailing by 10 with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Beck takes the snap. This time it's pistol and a handoff to Fletcher. Off right tackle with green grass to the sideline. Inside the 30, 20, 10, 6 for Mark Fletcher. No flags in the first points of the game for Miami, and Hard Rock Stadium's on fire. A 57-yard rushing touchdown for Mark Fletcher, the junior hometown kid.
Here we go. Buckle that helmet. Tie those shoes a little tighter, Ben. The Hurricanes, they've come to party tonight. I said it at the break after the Indiana punt. This is going to be a battle in the second half. You can feel it. And right now, Miami is translating their dominance at the line of scrimmage on the defensive end into success offensively. It was only a 2-play drive, but they won at the point of attack on both of those plays. It freed a massive hole, but Fletcher, the speed, unbelievable to get past the Indiana second level.
Kick is up and good for Carter Davis. His first opportunity for an extra point today. And you said it, the 3 words sounded best. Here we go. It's the national championship, and we have a fun one down the wire. It's 10-7, Indiana at Hard Rock Stadium. On WIUX, we'll be back. Another media timeout from Miami Gardens. Indiana's back against the wall a little bit for the first time in these playoffs. They have a 3-point lead in the second half. It's the smallest lead they've had at a second half of the playoffs so far after the 57-yard touchdown run from Mark Fletcher. Luke, Miami had 20 yards on the ground before that run, and now they have 77.
Yeah, Ben, you said a little bit backs against the wall, and I think that's a fair assessment. There's 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Indiana's been in control of this game. But Miami defensively, they've been in control of Fernando Mendoza. And you're 1 3-and-out away. You're 1 punt away from having the ball in the hands of your 6th-year quarterback with a chance to take the lead in the national championship in the second half. And coming into this game, an 8-point spread, Indiana dominating everybody. That's all Mario Cristobal, Carson Beck, and the Hurricanes wanted. A second half at home where they have a shot. And right now, boy, do they have a shot, and they got all the momentum.
Indiana up a field goal. And the clock sits at 11:06 to play in the third quarter, so we have a lot of football left. Carter Davis will kick away for Miami after drilling the extra points. Van Horsen and Hemby back, as always, for Indiana, and it sails through the back of the end zone. So Fernando Mendoza, he's been rushed out of the pocket a lot. He's been hit a lot today. A targeting earlier that wasn't called, that probably should have been called. He got bloody, and that kind of is a perfect image for how he has looked today.
And it started with Miami stopping the run, Ben. 23 attempts, 44 yards. That's less than 2 a carry. Granted, 13 lost yards for sacks count into that stat, but nonetheless, you're still under 3 a carry for average. Mendoza's got to start slinging it around.
2 sacks for Miami today. 1st and 10, drive started on the far side hash from the 25. Twins to the right side. Mendoza claps his hand, takes a snap, hand off to Roman Hemby. He's got some room off the tackle. He gets a first, up to the 40, stumbling past the 40 to about the 42. A pickup of 17 for Hemby.
There was a difference that time. The right tackle, Johnny, sealed the edge, but the pressure's coming on those stretch plays to Hemby from the opposite side in which Roman's running at. That time he was simply faster than the blitzing nickelbacker, and the offensive line did the rest.
Ball at the middle of the field at the 40. The first down marker is midfield. A stack formation on the right. Now Cooper comes in motion. Mendoza hands off to Hemby again, this time to the left. Powering forward past the line of scrimmage. Picked up about 5 before Ruben Bain tackled him with his shoulder pads.
So there you go. You pick up 15 on first down on the ground. You go right back to Hemby. He gets another 4.5. You're on schedule. You're approaching midfield. This is one of those drives where if you're going to have a successful NFL career, you want to prove every hater, if there possibly is one wrong, for this Indiana offense and Mendoza. If you can respond right here and score, that's some serious stuff. 2nd and 6, Mendoza getting a sign from a sideline, trips to the far side, another handoff up the middle, and again getting to the second level is Hemby, but they came up pretty quickly. He stopped at about the 47. So he picked up maybe 3, and here comes a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. So now this is a unique situation for Indiana. You've run 3 plays on this drive, all of which have been handoffs to Hemby. Hemby is still in the game right now, so you got to think fatigue at some point if you're going to hand it off on 3rd and short. Or do you decide for the first time on this drive to throw the football? Mendoza's been under pressure all night. Trips to the left again for Mendoza. Ball at the middle of the field. They need 3. It's the 50-yard line. Hemby on the right hip of Mendoza. He's going to drop back to pass. Quick throw. Got Surratt. Bobbled it. Caught it. He dropped it. Picked it up, and they call it incomplete. It might have been a fumble, but right now they say incomplete, and Indiana looks like they'll have to punt again. Oh, my goodness, Ben. Sometimes people say to win the national championship, you got to have a little bit of lady luck. And Elijah Surratt was open with 10 yards of room before another defender. and straight up dropped the football right at his face mask.
Miami's punt returner Malachi Toney with his heels on the 5 is pumping up the Miami crowd. McCarthy to punt again more than he has had to all year long. Toney a fair catch at the 12. 9:02 on the third quarter clock. It's a brand new ball game here at Hard Rock Stadium. And Indiana's offense trying to find any sign of life. And we'll see how Miami responds after their 57-yard touchdown run. Another media timeout at Hard Rock here on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. It's January and Indiana is playing football, a sentence that hasn't been said very often, but here we are at the national championship, attempt number 1 for Indiana to bring home a ring. But last time Indiana played Miami in the postseason, it was both in men's and women's basketball, and upsets for Miami in the second round of March Madness on both the men's and women's side. The Miami football team going for another upset of Indiana in postseason play. It's 10-7 IU. Miami gets the ball back for the first time after their 57-yard Mark Fletcher touchdown run.
And they got the ball right back after the touchdown run. The Hurricanes, they're here. Second half of the national championship, one-possession game. Can't ask for much more.
Drive started from the 12 in the middle of the field. It's 1st and 10, a bunch set on the near side with a few receivers. Pistol formation, Fletcher behind Beck. It's a handoff to Fletcher up the middle. This time cannot get past the line of scrimmage. Tyreek Tucker mucking things up front with Mario Landino.
For Indiana defensively, you got to play your game. You can't let the trash talk. You can't let the momentum. You can't let this crowd that was ravenous for a moment, like the 50-plus yard touchdown, get into it, because they've been into it, and now they're really here. The Indiana defense, you can get off the field right now. You really settle things down in the second half.
Ball moved a yard, 2nd and 9 now at the at the 13 with 2 receivers out right. One man comes in motion. Beck to throw to the left. He threw it short of Malachi Toney, who was wide open just a few yards past the line of scrimmage in the flat. Daniel Ndukwe wasn't too far for coverage, but it's a 3rd and 9 instead of maybe a 3rd and 6 or 7.
See, that's simply a quarterback. That's a throw you have to make as a quarterback in that situation. The pressure was coming, but Beck wasn't under pressure yet. Toney's wide open, and he spikes it into his cleats. If you get that pickup, you have 3rd and 1.
They go bunch set to the right side now, and here it is, a big 3rd down with 8:21 to play in the 3rd quarter. Miami trailing by 3, a 1 tight end set. He's on the right hip. Beck drops back to pass again, this time looking right across the middle, bobbled up, and dropped. Jamari Sharp in coverage of C.J. Daniels. He stuck his head in there and hit that ball to the ground. Miami will punt this time.
That's one of the best defensive plays of the entire game, Ben. I was staring down Daniels on the far side because he's in that position to have a one-on-one opportunity. He ran the crossing route. Sharp bit on it the entire way and breaks it up at the last second. That speed, that size, that scouting, and then the physicality at the end to staple it home. What a stop from the Hoosier defense.
Adam Booker, or rather Dylan Joyce that is the Miami punter in the end zone. He'll kick away to Jonathan Brady all the way towards the sideline. It bounces at about the 40. It'll go out of bounds near that. I think they're actually going to say that took an Indiana bounce. We'll see exactly where they spot it. We have a weird vantage point here, kind of in the corner of the field here at Hard Rock Stadium, so the far side of the field is pretty tough to see. And they will spot the ball at about the 43, it looks like. Indiana's offense back out to the field shortly. We talked about Indiana's offense losing steam momentum. Indiana's defense with a nice response.
Huge response. And right now, if Indiana's going to continue to commit to running the football, something has got to give approaching the midway point of the 3rd quarter.
Mendoza back out there with 2 receivers to his left and a 3-point lead. 8 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter of the national championship. Play action. Mendoza back, trying to avoid pressure, and he's brought down. Akeem Messidor again, causing problems for Indiana's offensive line. They call him down at about the 35. It's a loss of 8.
So Mesidor wraps up Mendoza. Fernando at 6'5", fights through it and stays standing up. Mesidor wraps his legs around Mendoza's legs. That has to be a penalty at every single level of football in front of two officials. I understand getting tangled up.
Second and 18, twins to both sides, no tight ends for Indiana. Now Nowakowski goes in formation, and now he hands it off to the running back, who's still breaking tackles up all the way to the 41-yard line. So he picked up some yardage there. We'll call it about 7. And a third and a 11 coming up from the 41.
That's some aggressive running right there from Black. Third and long again.
4 receiver set this time again, but it's trips to the right side. Yet a V formation to the near side for Mendoza on the 3rd and 12. Claps his hand, now calls out an audible to the offensive line. Ball's on the far side hash. Now the running back, Kalon Black, goes from the right hip to the left hip of Mendoza. Snap back. Mendoza, short drop back, looking for the sideline at the first down marker. Good coverage from O.J. Federic again, and it's hit to the ground. Another Elijah Surratt target is an incompletion for Miami's defense.
We're starting to see things from the Indiana offense that were their bread and butter all year. For the first time, it feels like all season, not go their way. A 3rd and long, one-on-one Elijah Surratt back shoulder throw, and Federic did not leave his hip. Indiana's bench questioning maybe a pass interference flag warranted there, but those are so difficult with the physicality of Surratt as well.
McCarthy will punt again. His heels on about the 30. Another line drive punt away to Malachi Tony. He is getting all the way back to the 5. A really good punt. Trying to shake it big, and he's brought down to the 7. Nowhere to go for Malachi Tony, and Mitch McCarthy with an awesome punt.
That's a winning play right there from McCarthy to pin Tony inside the 5, but Devin Boykin to get down the field, close out, and wrap up the most elusive man in college football right now. That's what wins you national championships, Ben. And in a grit fest like this with not much scoring, field position is everything. Miami's starting at their own 5-yard line.
We are over halfway through this third quarter. Neither team has been able to find much rhythm offensively, but the difference in this second half is the Mark Fletcher long touchdown run. Still 10-7 Indiana with 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. We'll go back to break on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. Back here at Hard Rock Stadium, Indiana fighting for its postseason lives with Miami. This is it, the final game, the national championship. Winner goes home with glory. Nick Rodecap standing by on the sideline about more on this schools matchup between Indiana and Miami. Nick?
Thanks, guys. Obviously, every sport is independent of the other sports in a school's athletic department, but Indiana fans probably have a pretty bad taste in their mouths because the last time Indiana faced off against Miami in an NCAA postseason game, both the men's and women's basketball teams squared off against the Hurricanes in the 2023 NCAA tournament. The Indiana men got blown out by Miami. The Hurricanes went on to make the Final Four, falling to UConn in the Final Four, while the women, a top seed in the 2023 NCAA tournament, coming off a Big Ten regular season title, fell in a shocking upset to the 9th-seeded Hurricanes at Assembly Hall. And the women's game was particularly odd because Indiana and Stanford, 2 number 1 seeds, both lost in the round of 32 that year, marking the first time since 1998 that multiple number 1 seeds missed the Sweet 16 in the NCAA women's basketball tournament. And Ben, obviously football, basketball, different sports, entirely different groups of people, but a lot of IU fans probably don't have too many fond memories of the U. You and I were both freshmen when that happened, and I can certainly speak from experience that there is no love lost between the Hoosiers and the Hurricane fan bases here tonight. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you so much, Nick. Indiana looking for their first championship in program history. It would be the first for Miami since 2001. The offense is back out on the field for Hurricanes. It feels like field position has been a big factor in this game. Hurricanes will get another drive started from inside their own 10.
Ben, starting inside their own 10, it makes me look back down to my prep board. Indiana, they forced a turnover in 7 consecutive games. This is the area of the field when they can really get a quarterback trembling.
3 turnovers inside their own 15 for Oregon last time they played Indiana. Ball on the far side hash. That's where Miami gets their drive started from the 7. Bauman, the tight end, comes in motion. Handoff up the middle to Mark Fletcher. Bouncing it to the left. He cuts outside. He's stopped at the 10-yard line and turns his legs for 1 or 2 more. They'll give him just the 10. So it's a pickup of about 3. Indiana's linebackers teamed up on it. Elijah Hardy and Isaiah Jones. Miami goes hurry up. 3 receivers out left, 2 out right. An empty backfield for Carson Beck. Claps his hand, takes the snap, drops back, throws across the middle, and it's deflected by Jones. Diving across at the 15-yard line, almost picked it off. That would have been right on cue.
So Jones drops back. He's guarding receivers as a linebacker. He reads the eyes of Beck. Oh my goodness, I looked at the replay. That's a play that not many linebackers at this level can make, Ben.
3rd and 7 for the Hurricanes. Ball is on the 10-yard line. And he will have Mark Fletcher on his right hip, a tight end to the left with 2 receivers. Malachi Toney going in motion to get closer to the line. Beck, play action across the middle. Toney's got it at the 15-yard line. Tackled right near that marker. He's short. 4th and short coming up. And Miami is too deep in their own territory to likely think about going for it.
I wouldn't say so just yet. Ben, yes, right on. I mean, that is 4th and 2 inches, maybe.
Yeah, the ball is right at that 16.5-yard line, we'll call it.
Ben, look out for a fake in this situation. In title games, you can see tricky stuff.
Miami comes out in their normal punt formation. Just in front of the end zone is their punter, Joyce. And Joyce, it's blocked into the end zone and picked up by Indiana. Isaiah Jones, touchdown on a blocked punt in the championship. Mikhail Kamara blocked it, and you talked about those weird plays happening. An extra point will put IU up 10.
Kurt Signetti referenced one time back in his early football career, I lost a game because of special teams. I will never let that happen ever again. In Indiana, the biggest play of the season comes on another block punt for a touchdown. They had one last week. They got the ball inside the 5. They started this campaign with a block punt touchdown against Illinois. Oh my goodness, a disaster for the Canes, but the Hoosiers capitalize.
Nico Radicic out for the 2nd time to kick an extra point today, and his extra point hits the left upright and falls through. Man, oh man, are we seeing some weird stuff from special teams, but both of these go Indiana's way. It's 17-7 to the Natty.
See, that's another thing that people should talk about with this Indiana team. Kamara blocked it. That's a guy who was first team All Big Ten last year. Jones scores the touchdown. These are starters for the defense, Ben. Some coaching staffs, they don't want their starters playing special teams. They don't think it matters that much. They want to give them a rest after 3 downs. Indiana's guys play the entire game, and they make the biggest plays in different types of departments. Anything for the team, and that's on full display when it matters most.
Indiana will kick away with a fresh 10-point lead. It matches the largest they've had today. They took a 10-0 lead into the halftime locker room, and Miami responded real quick with a 57-yard touchdown run from Mark Fletcher. We'll see what the offense can come out with here with 5:04 to go in the 3rd quarter. Warren to kick away. This time a high punt. It's going to land in front of the end zone. It's picked up at about the 5. Going forward is Scott. He is hit at about the 20 and brought down to the 19. That worked out for Indiana. Coverage was there, and back-to-back special teams good plays for Indiana.
Yeah, here you go. Because you force the 3-and-out defensively. Your defensive guys block the punt. They score the touchdown. Now, if you can get the ball back again up 2 scores, this is the Indiana dominance we're used to seeing. For Beck and company, I've called on him all night, Ben. He's 8 of 15 for 60 yards. If Carson Beck wants to cement himself as a Miami Hurricane, sure, this run has been amazing. Sure, Miami's back in the title game, but Carson Beck has not done a thing tonight, and he's got to wake up with 20 minutes to go.
They get their drive started at their own 19, ball at the middle of the field. No receivers out to the right. There's twins to the near side. Beck is going to fake handoff. Now drop back in the pocket. Got a lot of time. A dump off to Fletcher at about the 25. He bounces forward for about the 27. He's a couple yards short of that first down marker, but a second and short coming up.
Those are the first down yardages that Miami really needs to get themselves into. Now they can go hurry up and run the ball if they want on second and short for a first down.
It's at the 27 for a second and 2 on the near side hash. Twins to the far side now. Fletcher gets it on a handoff to the right. Bouncing it outside, it's a sweep. He gets the first down. Up to the secondary. Inside the 35-yard line, up to the 40. Fletcher has been far more effective on the ground today than his counterpart, Shamar Brown. 14 carries now for 87 yards, and only a couple of carries for Brown today. Fletcher has really taken the brunt of the carries.
Yeah, that's what you got to do in a title game. Have your horses run. No need for the backup. I'll take every carry tonight, Coach, if you need me. That's kind of been a lot of the same on certain drives between Black and Hemby.
Fresh set of downs at the 37. Back, looks for the sideline, and it's up in the air. Aiden Fisher made a big play for a receiver on the sideline. He broke it up. That was right when the ball got there. That's why you hear the boos. Miami fans want PI. There is no flag. Aiden Fisher, the middle linebacker, stepping up. That was actually D'Angelo Pons on the tight end, Alex Bauman.
So they line Pons up in kind of a safety role where he's way back. He's in coverage, not really one-on-one with anyone. He reads the eyes of Bex and lays a massive pop on Bauman.
Handoff now going off left. This is Shamar Brown. He's got some blockers up to the 39. Or 41, that is. He'll get about 4. Hosea Wheeler, the defensive tackle, alongside Mikhail Kamara, make the play. Markel Bell went to the ground pretty hard. Mikhail Kamara was able to shed him. And this is a huge third down coming up for the Hurricanes. 3rd and 7 from their own 41. Trailing by 10. It's 17-7. Ball on the near side hash. The running back on the left hip is Shamar Brown. 2 receivers to the right. Now a man coming in motion. It's Keelan. Taps his hand, takes a snap. 7-step drop back. Flushed out of the pocket. Out to the right. Beck cutting back left. Still deep, and he finds a man in Indiana territory. C.J. Daniels evades a tackle inside the 35. First down and more.
Here's the response, Ben. That's a heck of a play right there from Carson Beck. He didn't just roll out to the side that he looked to be going, had no one open, could have thrown the ball away. But he stops on a dime, knifes back to the middle of the field, and finds Daniels on a strike over the middle. That's a massive pickup for Miami.
Daniels has 3 catches now for 56 yards on the evening. In the national championship, 2:30 to go in the third. A fresh set of bounds now in Indiana territory at the 35. Trips to Carson Beck's right. Shamar Brown goes out to join him. There's 4 receivers out there, but he looks left for C.J. Daniels, who caught it, but his knee was on the ground right away. So only a pickup of 1 or 2, if that. C.J. Daniels had room, but his knee hit the ground right when he caught it.
Oh, Ben, if Daniels doesn't drop this kind of stanky leg move to hit his knee up against the ground, he probably scores a touchdown on the reverse screen. There was nothing but green grass ahead of him, and he completely made that mistake on his own. It wasn't a low throw. He was probably expecting a hit and dragged the leg.
They give him 1, 2nd and 9 from Indiana's 34. Stack formation with 2 receivers to Beck's right. Brown again on the left hip of Beck. Snap back, handoff to the right, no play action. Screen out to Tony. He's got some room to the left side, gets the first down, and is brought down inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. We were expecting a big play from Malachi Tony at some point, and you got it there. Miami's back in the red zone trying to respond after the touchdown on a block punt for Indiana.
Okay, Miami gaining some offensive momentum here, but now it's 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. This is the best defense in college football in the red area. They hold you to field goals almost 85% of the time. They have only given up 7 touchdowns through the air to opposing quarterbacks. This is when Indiana's got to stand tall. If you can hold him to 3, it's a win, Ben.
They actually say he was out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Not quite 1st and goal, but 1st and 10, pretty close to it. Hand off to Fletcher on the left side. Bouncing around a couple of guys off the left tackle. He picks up a few before being buried by Mikhail Kamara. Boy, he is everywhere tonight. They actually only give him 1. It's they give him 3. It's 2nd and 7 on the 9.
There's going to be 1 more play automatically before the end of the 3rd quarter. The play clock's at 24, the game clock's at 29.
One more before we head to the fourth. Boy, it is a game of inches down to the red zone. Haven't seen a ton of teams in the red zone tonight, whether it's Indiana or Miami. Bunch set with 3 receivers to the left of Beck for the 2nd and 7. He's going to hand it off this time to the right for Mark Fletcher. He breaks through the initial line of defenders for Indiana and gets up around the first down marker. I think he's going to be just short.
He's inches short.
He's at the 3. It's a 3rd and inches coming up. But first, one last quarter break in the 25-26 college football season. We'll switch sides. Miami will come towards us in the end zone with a 3rd and inches from the 3-yard line, trying to get this game back to a 1-possession game. This is what you want, the national championship, 17 Indiana, Miami 7 from Hard Rock Stadium on WIUX. It is quarter number 64 of the Indiana football season, and it all comes down to this with a 10-point lead in the national championship. 15 minutes to play, but Miami's got the ball at Indiana's 3-yard line for a 3rd and inches, trying to score but get a first down first. They come in with a jumbo set, 2 extra offensive linemen. They put them on the right side. Carson Beck under center. Mark Fletcher off to his right. Takes the snap, fakes a flip, gives it to Fletcher. Nobody in front of him, walks into the end zone. We got a game of the championship. 17-13 now. Mark Fletcher's 2nd touchdown of the game.
Miami gets trickery on this drive, Ben. Just about every chunk play was kind of a double reverse. Beck would look one way, go the other. Here they bring the speedster Tony from the wide receiver position into the backfield. They fake a big pitch to him, and they just hand it, like you said, offset in the formation, still as the running back Fletcher. Nobody even saw him. He hid behind the massive offensive line, and we're a PAT away from a field goal contest.
Holds good, snap is up, kicks up, it's good. The 2nd time today for Carter Davis. Miami had 4 first downs in the first half of play. They come out in their first 2 drives of the second half, punch in rushing touchdowns, and make this a 3-point game. Excuse me, that's 2 possessions in 3. The 3rd ended at 6 for Indiana after the blocked punt. And again, another home crowd for Miami, and this place is loud as Sebastian, Miami's mascot, is getting the crowd riled up.
I mean, Indiana blocked that punt, Ben, and you're thinking to yourself, 2-score lead, maybe going into the 4th quarter, the defense just forced a 3 and out. This could be where they take off.
Again,
why they were 10-point favorites at one point this week. But the response from Beck, I remember that 3rd down throw he made, navigating the pocket, throwing across his body. That was a 27-yard strike. And the rest of the drive was the offensive line and some fantastic play calling from the offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson. This is everything you could ask for. I mean, a 3-point game, a huge favorite, an underdog at home. And it comes down right here in Miami. Let's do it.
Clock is at 14:57 to play in both team seasons. 17-14 Indiana. Kick is through the end zone. And remember, the 7 points for Indiana came no thanks to the Indiana offense. They still have yet to put together any sort of drive in the second half. They'll have to here to keep any sort of confidence moving forward.
It's right here, right now. Surratt dropped the ball on the last drive. Mendoza hasn't been all the way there. The offensive line not generating the push. You got 14 minutes, as Tim Tebow once said, for the rest of your lives. If you want to go down in history, Indiana's going to have to go win this football game right here, right now. And it starts on this possession.
Mendoza is 12 for 20 today with 116 yards, yet to throw a touchdown pass. In the jaws of Miami's fan section with the ball at the middle of the field and Indiana's own 25-yard line. 2 receivers out left. One out right, Nowakowski coming in motion to get to his normal tight end spot. Mendoza takes the snap. Black up the middle, stood up at the line of scrimmage and powers forward for maybe 2. But both defensive tackles for Miami were in there, Justin Scott and Armando Blunt.
It actually looked like Black got absolutely stood up like you said, Ben, but the guards for Indiana got a decent push. They're going to give him 4 yards on first down. Excuse me, they just corrected the spot. It's now 2nd and 8. But nonetheless, Black has got to see the hole a little bit more than that time. He ran right into the defense.
2nd and 8 for the 27. 17 for Indiana, 14 for Miami. 2 receivers to Mendoza's right. Black's on the left hip of Mendoza again. Takes the snap. It's Black again. Up the middle. This time has room. Got the first down. Inside the 40. Up to the 42. Kaylon Black keeps going for IU.
That's bulldozing right there. Churning the legs. Give me the ball because I want it, Coach. Kaylon Black has been that guy tonight. He's outgained Hemby by now double. 69 yards for Black, just 30 on 13 attempts for Hemby. Black's only touched the ball a dozen times.
Under 14 minutes to play now. Here comes Indiana on another 1st and 10 from their own 40. 2 receivers out right. The first down marker is the 50-yard line. Black's in the game again on the right hip of Mendoza. This time fakes it to him. Throw out right. It's deflected right at the line of scrimmage by the quarterback, Ethan O'Connor. He might have been able to pick that. It was a screen pass attempt to Omar Cooper on the right hash.
That he knocked this ball down because he tried to knock this ball down. I think if he wouldn't have put his left arm around Cooper to cross the right arm, which knocked the ball away, Ethan O'Connor could have run through the football for a pick 6. Fernando Mendoza cannot make that throw again. Miami will take it the other direction.
Now 2nd and 10 for Indiana from their own 40 again in the middle of the field. Trips now to Mendoza's left. Calls a play out. Screen pass out left. Cooper's got it at the 40. Has a couple blockers in Miami territory with the first down and spun around and pushed out of bounds at the Miami 41. Omar Cooper, yards after catch.
That's a fantastic play call. You go back to the same thing that almost just bit you for a pick 6, but you put the tight end Nowakowski and one of your best blocking threats in Elijah Surratt on the edge. You get your man in space, Cooper Jr. He catches it. He was patient. He found the hole, and he accelerated through. That is an enormous pickup, but right now you're kind of on that border of field goal range. You need one more first down, and you're really settled down right now if you're Indiana. That was a massive game.
Cooper's got a touchdown in both playoff games for Indiana before this one. 1st and 10 from Miami's 42. E.J. Williams into the game and comes in motion. It's Mendoza, keeper, broken play. He tries to get his head back to the line of scrimmage. He lowers his shoulder pads and gets to that 42-yard line. They'll give him 1, a 2nd and 9, but that play was blown up. And I think some confusion in Indiana's backfield.
Well, the entire night, Indiana's tackles have been getting abused by the edge rushers of Miami. That was the matchup to look out for. And Miami now early into this 4th quarter is dominating.
Here comes the 2nd and 9 again in Miami territory. Indiana trying to expand on their 3-point lead. 12.5 to play in the national championship. Omar Cooper's on an island on the right side. Mendoza takes the snap. Black this time off the left shoulder and going to bury a defender again up to the 37. The running back actually was Roman Hemby. He picks up 4. He got all the way to the safety, Bryce Fitzgerald, who likes to come up a lot on run plays. But Fitzgerald eventually made a shoestring tackle. A huge 3rd and 5 coming up. Maybe 4-down territory, maybe Brendan Franke territory at the 37.
Yeah, you brought up Brendan Franke. He's the backup kicker, the long-range guy, only 1 of 2 this year. Radicic as long as 46. He's the everyday kicker.
3 receivers
from here.
3 receivers to Mendoza's right. Hemby back into the game on the left hip. No tight end set. E.J. Williams alone at the bottom. Snap back. Mendoza looks to throw quickly. He led Omar Cooper. The ball was nowhere near him. It falls harmlessly to the ground just in front of the end zone. And a little bit of confusion between Mendoza and Cooper, not on the same page. That ball was nowhere near him. At a 4th and 5 coming up, a decision time for Kurt Cignetti and co.
Well, the offense never left the field, and nobody on the sidelines moved as in any form of special teams unit. If you were going to go for it in this situation, I don't know why you take the shot there.
Indiana is 8 for 16 on 4th downs this year. And they have a 4th and 5 at Miami's 37, the biggest of the season to this point, with a 17-14 lead over Miami, and now a timeout to be taken by the offense at Indiana. 11:28 is what the game clock sits at. What do you do on this 4th and 5 if you're Indiana? Obviously, they look like they want to go for it, but what's the best play call here?
Well, I think once you get beyond 4th and 4, it's just not really worth it to take the risk of running the football, considering you have the Heisman Trophy winner. But man, Ben, this Miami pass rush, it feels like Mendoza's uneasy in the pocket. We saw this a lot with really good quarterbacks throughout the playoff. Once you can get to them for 3 consecutive quarters, it just their mindset changes. It feels like they're not very comfortable. This would be a situation where I think you got to go to Surratt. He's been your guy all season when it really matters most. And on 4th and 5, you're kind of in no man's land. I think you still have to go for it out of the timeout. Find something in space for Surratt towards the sideline to do his thing.
Just 3 catches for Elijah Surratt today for a total of 28 yards. This is Indiana's best receiver who averages 62 yards per game, missed a decent amount of time. And Luke, he missed 3 or 4 games this year and still has 15 touchdowns on the season.
Well, Surratt and Cooper, they've been the dynamic duo of the Big Ten. They both scored in the last game against Oregon. They've scored together in the same game 7 times this season. But these wideouts for Indiana, they got to get involved. Nowakowski, the tight end's been big. He scored a touchdown in the first half. But who is going to create space? Because Mendoza's proven all year he can put it on you if you're there.
We're going to quickly set it down to our sideline reporter, Nick Rodecap, who's got a little bit on this matchup.
Guys, a lot of nervous energy in this stadium right now, and if you're Indiana, you keep the process the same. That's what they've been preaching, even as the outside noise has gotten bigger, the magnitude of these games has gotten bigger. Of course, there's nothing bigger than the national championship. Lewis Moore told me earlier this week, it starts with the man up top, Curt Cignetti, keeping a business-like approach. He keeps them humble and focused all the time, and Moore said that we can think we're going to go out there and dominate, but that's not what's going to happen. You have to do the little things well. And so far, Indiana has not dominated this game. The offensive line has not been great. You talk about doing the little things. It all starts with winning up front. Big 4th down and 5 coming up here. And if Indiana's offensive line cannot give Fernando Mendoza time to process the defense, I don't see how Indiana's going to be successful. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Nick. That is the mindset all year long for Curt Cignetti and his crew. Keeping it the same every single week. Hard to ignore what's happening right now at Hard Rock Stadium. A championship and a road game at a 3-point lead, 17-14 with a 4th and 5 coming up and 11 minutes and 28 seconds to play in your season. White rally towels in the air for Indiana fans. Orange rally towels in the air for Miami fans. Here comes IU. It's Becker and Omar Cooper to the right. Elijah Surratt alone to the left. Nowakowski to the right. And Kalon Black on the right hip of Mendoza. On the near side hash. Mendoza steps back. Throws out right to the sideline. Caught for a first down. Charlie Becker at the sideline. He's at the 18-yard line.
Indiana splits Surratt and Becker to opposite sides and says pick your poison. You can double one of them. Miami brings a blitz. They don't double either. Surratt had his man for a touchdown. Mendoza looked him off and hit Charlie Becker, the man of the second half of the season, delivering the goods.
Barely kept it off the ground, and Indiana's going to go hurry up with a 1st and 10 from Miami's 17. Kalon Black on the right hip of Mendoza. It's a 2 tight end set. Mendoza gives it off to the middle to Kalon Black, and he is hit right at the line. Able to turn his legs once again like Kalon Black always does. They put him right back at maybe the 14. So they do give him a generous spot after the contact was made from the defensive lineman Amon Moten. Inside the 15, it's 2nd and 6 now for IU. They lead 17-14, 10.5 to play in the 4th quarter. 1 receiver to both sides, 2 tight ends off to the left now. Surratt coming in motion to get to the right. Mendoza takes the snap, will give it again. Kalon Black shimmying through a hole, but met by a linebacker just a couple of yards later in Mohamed Toure. That is 3rd and short to 3rd and manageable coming up.
It's going to be 3rd and a long 5 here, Ben. Decision time. We know this Indiana team, they like to run the football. But the threats on the outside, they've delivered in the postseason in the red area.
58% of the year converting on 3rd down, and they are great in the red zone. Both of those in play here at Miami's 12, a 3rd and 4. Mendoza will take the snap. It will be a pass looking out left for the end zone. It's over the head of his intended receiver, E.J. Williams, and falls into the tunnel directly behind the goalposts. and a 4th and 4 coming up for Indiana. Are they really thinking about going for this again? I guess with a 3-point lead this late in the game, they could try to put themselves in a much better position.
Whoa.
They will keep the offense on the field for now, and it is a late change to send Niko Radicic out to attempt this 29-yard field goal. And now a timeout taken by Indiana. That's number 2 of the second half.
You can't do that. You got to be prepared to be in these situations as a coaching staff. And in what world did you not think on 3rd and 5 it's either a no-brainer to kick the field goal or, hey, we're going to try and confuse them and maybe go quick if we're going to go for a 4th down. Mendoza walked to the sideline, and then he turned around. There was no play call in his ear. Even he was confused. Cignetti has to use his second timeout on this drive, Ben. And if you kick this field goal here and Miami goes and scores a touchdown, you're up against it because now you're trailing for the first time in this game. That is awful clock management, and you really hope that it doesn't come back to bite the Hoosiers.
No need for seats here at Hard Rock Stadium. Every fan of this building is on their feet, Indiana and Miami fans alike. And after Indiana's second timeout of the 4th quarter, we'll see what they come out with. Mark Langston, the long snapper, Mitch McCarthy, the holder, and Niko Radicic were on the field for that whole timeout. Now they're brought off. The offensive line goes in. Now they're brought off. So I think they're just having a conversation. They will still kick this one. Again, a 29-yard field goal from what looks like.
They're going for it, Ben.
Oh, no, here comes the offense. 4th and 4 from the 12. Radicic out, Mendoza in, 15 for 15. 2 receivers out left for Mendoza. Down by 3 is Miami. They need a stop. Mendoza, snap back. He's going to step up, trying to get to the first down marker. He got it inside the 5, still going forward for the pylon. Touchdown, Fernando! The Heisman has his championship moment. Unbelievable run for Mendoza. He broke a tackle. He spun out of one. He got the first down and he scored.
Welcome home, Fernando Mendoza.
That's going to count. We look at the replay. He's well in. Superman pose, getting into the end zone. All out stretch. I don't believe it. Radicic, he'll get his attempt to kick now, and it's through. 24-14 Indiana. No smile on the sideline for Mendoza. It's all business.
Mendoza once said that he would die on the field with his brothers. Ben, he broke a tackle, he ate a tackle, and then he dove in with his head first to 3 crunching defenders at the goal line. That's one of the more legendary moments from a Heisman candidate in a championship game of all time if Indiana goes on to win this football game. That is putting your career on the line, your team on the back. Ben, it was 4th down, and they gave the ball to their Heisman Trophy winner to run the football.
Unbelievable play by Indiana's leader all year long, and they're in the driver's seat with 9:18 to play, up by 10 in the national championship. We'll be back on WIUX. Wow, Fernando Mendoza, before the break, just made one of the greatest plays we've seen from a quarterback in a national championship game, and it put his team up by 10. It's 24-14 Indiana in the national championship. Ben Haller alongside Luke Brennaman for the call of what's been an absolute blast of a game.
Ben, he hadn't gone to the legs all night. He went to him a lot in the win against Alabama. He did it all season. That's his 7th rushing touchdown of the year. Heisman candidates have only won the national championship 4 times. The last time, 2013, Jameis Winston. Heisman Trophy winners are only 4-7 in championship games. And a lot of people say, is there a Heisman curse? ESPN wrote an article about that in championship games. Well, Fernando Mendoza just had his Mendoza moment.
Ball is returned to the goal line, and they're going to take it all the way out to about the 25. A couple of penalties going out. There's a helmet on the ground. And the ball was on the ground for a second. Indiana thinks they might have it. We're awaiting. We have a penalty flag and awaiting the call first before the penalty flag. This would be unbelievable.
Well, Indiana's defense ran onto the field. The sideline exploded. The coaching staff is still out. They might ask them to look at this, Ben.
Not a lot of people caught this besides you, Luke, and again, the coaching staff thinking about it. I think they're going to not much out of this. So Miami will keep the ball, but the flag was a holding on the return team. So they'll have to get their drive started again, deep in their own territory. They will spot this ball at Miami's 9-yard line.
And it's right in front of the Indiana student section. Hoosiers, you've waited forever for this. Generations.
Here comes the Miami offense. Carson Beck and co. have had a much better second half. 2 touchdowns on 2 Mark Fletcher runs, who has 16 carries for 109 yards. The star of this Miami offense today. 2 receivers to the right for Carson Beck, 1 out left. It is the pistol formation with Fletcher behind Beck. He's play action, drops back in the end zone, looking to his right, has a man, Malachi Toney, up to the 20, and it's a first down for Miami. Little dump off that, again, Malachi Toney, one of the fastest receivers in college football, got up all the way to, they call it the 16, and it's 2nd and 1. No first down. It's a handoff up the middle. This time Fletcher will get the first down, turning forward for about the 20. And this will move the chains this time. Again, we apologize. Our view here in the corner, sometimes tough to see those first down markers and yard markers, but ball is exactly at the 20-yard line of Miami for the Hurricane offense. 8:30 on the 4th quarter clock, trailing by 10, 24-14. Ball in the middle of the field, and now the bunch set is to Carson Beck's left. In shotgun, Fletcher's on his right hip. Now Toney's coming in motion. Right in the back of the Indiana student section. Beck immediately looks right, keeps it, now looks towards the middle, has a ton of time, finally looks deep and overthrew his receiver, Keelan Marion, all the way near midfield. That would have been a big gain, but 2 Indiana secondary men were there. Boy, that was an excellent play by the secondary. There was so much time for Beck to throw.
How many times have we seen that this season, Ben? A really good quarterback be able to sit in the pocket and send a text message with so much time, but still nobody is ever open. That's 2 guys closing in on Marion.
2nd and 10 from the same spot, their own 20. Same receiver set for Miami. Now they go a 2 running back backfield with both Toney and Fletcher. Beck drops back to pass, looks down the field for the sideline again. It's a jump ball. It's caught and then dropped by Marion. That was almost a pick, then almost a catch. It sort of looked like the play from that NFL game a couple of days ago where it was a jump ball between Marion and Pons.
Well, Pons had a better read on it as a defensive back. Pons immediately, his eyes light up and say, I can catch this ball and intercept it easier than Marion. But he turns into receiver. Marion cuts him off in the last second trying to make a play, but the ball does eventually trickle through his hands.
Just under 8 to play. 24-14 lead for Indiana. At a 3rd and 10, Miami in their own 20. Here comes the Indiana crowd, trips to the right for Beck. And a flag, some movement, and I think this is going to come on Miami, a false start on the Hurricanes. Indiana's crowd maybe making an impact in Hard Rock Stadium. That is an awesome Indiana University moment. They call the false start on, I think that's the backup left guard, Samson Okunlala. And this makes it a 3rd and 15 and the impossible for Carson Beck. 2 receivers split out left, 1 out right. Mark Fletcher on his right hip. Now the tight end, Bauman, goes in motion. 3-step drop back, looking across the middle. Has Bauman at the 35 for the first down. Miami rose to the occasion on 3rd and 15, and they keep this drive going.
Credit to Carson Beck. Indiana blitzed him. He took a hit and let it go at the last second.
Hurricanes hurry up, 7.5 to play. First and 10 at their own 37 now. Looking across the middle of the field. Tony's open again at midfield. Inside Indiana territory to 25. And brought down at the 22 by Aiden Fisher and Lewis Moore. Nobody near Malachi Tony. And the Hurricanes are driving. They still want to go hurry up. We'll see what they do now, and I think they will huddle. They get a couple of substitutions into the game.
Miami should go hurry up. Tyreek Tucker and Mario Landino, along with Aiden Fisher, all put their head pretty much at the same level of their waist in between the play. Indiana is gassed.
Now under 7 minutes to play. Miami trying to make it a one-possession game again. There's twins to both sides. No tight end set for Beck. Flaps his hand, takes the snap, immediately looks out right. Now going to look the other way. Has a ton of time again. Dumps it off, but off the hands of Art Fletcher. It falls incomplete. That would have been big for Miami. Fletcher had a room if he would have caught that ball, but he can't bring it in.
I don't think it was Fletcher's fault as much as it was a 2-yard throw that Carson Beck rifled right at the head area of Fletcher. That ball was tipped straight up in the air, too. Another one of those plays where if Indiana had a guy right place, right time, they could turn over Carson Beck. If you're Beck right now, you're in field goal range. You can't do anything stupid. You got to give your team a chance and at least get this to a one-possession game by the end of the drive.
Beck 15 for 26 with 186. He's going to hand it off here. It's a little shuttle pass to Tony. He's got the first down inside the 10. Bouncing up towards the 5 and scoring. Malachi Tony spun out of a tackle and scores 6 for Miami. It was all defense in the first half. It's all offense here. And it is 24-20.
That's a freshman, Ben. That's a kid who should be a senior in high school. He actually skipped a grade to play college football earlier. And he's done it as the lights have gotten brighter this entire season.
For the third time today, Carter Davis will attempt an extra point. And for the third time today, it is good. 24-21. It's coming down to the wire in the national championship. 3 touchdowns for each side. The difference, a field goal for Indiana, and they have a field goal lead with 6:37 to play. The national championship coming down to the wire on WIUX, your home for Hoosier Sports. 6:37 to play in the national championship. Indiana a slight advantage. It's 24-21, but they will get the ball after that spectacular catch and then run for Malachi Tony. It counts as a reception, I believe, because it was sort of a shuttle pass, but it kind of acted as more of a run. But the scoring drive was 8 plays, 91 yards. They had a 3rd and 15 from their own 5, and Carson Beck and Malachi Tony got him out of it.
Miami at halftime had 69 yards of offense. They now have 318.
That just shows how the second half has gone. Offense has taken over at Hard Rock. Kick is up for the kickoff and through the end zone. So, Indiana, like they have almost all night long besides the first couple of drives, starts their drive from their own 25. And now the Miami crowd is starting to give it to the Indiana offense as they come out on the field. Last time Indiana was out, it was a spectacular run by Fernando Mendoza, one of the best plays we've seen from a quarterback running in a national championship in a very long time.
Right here, right now. How much more can you ask 15 to do?
24-21, 1st and 10 from Indiana's own 25-yard line. Twins out left, no receivers out right. A 2 tight end set. Hemby's on the left tip of Mendoza. Claps his hand, takes the snap. It's a handoff inside, banging past the defensive end, Ruben Bain, and up to about the 28, a pickup of 3. And eventually, the middle linebacker, Muhammad Torre, came in to help. So a first down run sets up a 2nd and 7.
This is where Indiana has made a living. The front 7, the front 5, the offensive line wear you down all game, and then we want to punish you when it matters most. They haven't been in situations like this too many times, but a chance to do it here.
Ball is right on the 2026 logo with a football, the national championship football logo as the 0. They go pistol now with Hemby behind Mendoza. 2 receivers to his right for the 2nd and 7. Takes the snap, handoff off right. It's a sweep. Hemby makes a man miss, but eventually gets up to the 30. He picked up 2. And a big 3rd and 5 coming up. Again, the Miami linebackers making a big play. This time, the middle linebacker, Wesley Bissane.
Indiana's been in this type of situation all night. 3rd and medium. 3rd and 5 here. I think you gotta let your gunslinger and sniper of Mendoza throw the football.
Kalon Black comes in. It's 24-21 Indiana. 5:20 on the clock in the championship. Trips to the left for Mendoza. There is no one to the right. Black's the back now on the left hip of Mendoza. Ball on the far side. Hash Cooper coming in motion from left to right. They send him back. Mendoza takes the snap. Rolls out left. Got the first down with Cooper. Down the sideline and up to the 44-yard line before he's pushed out.
Have yourself a play call, Mike Shanahan. He got his guy in space, and Mendoza on the rollout just had to put it right on Cooper. He had the first down with ease. That's a heck of a call. Delivering in the biggest moments. Trust in your Heisman quarterback.
Cooper's the best receiver for Indiana today. Now give him 5 receptions for 66 yards. Still no receiving touchdowns for Indiana. Same formation, but to the opposite side. They'll send trips to the right. Ball on the near side hash. 1st and 10 from Indiana's own 45. It's a handoff. Kalon Black off the left guard. Had a hole, and he gets up to the 50.
Black's been that guy tonight. His 15th touch now at 80 yards, averaging 5.5 per carry. The starting back Hemby's touched it 16 times for 40 yards. That's 2.5 per carry. I think when it matters most right now, you're seeing from Indiana, they're willing to trade off backs. But Kalon Black has been the guy tonight. He should continue to get the ball.
Extra O-lineman in for Indiana. Zen Mahalski comes in for 6 down linemen. Charlie Becker goes out on the 2nd and 5.
He might take a shot here, Ben.
Omar Cooper's left alone on the top. One receiver at the bottom. It's Surratt. It's just a handoff to Black, and he's blown up behind the line. Ruben Bain again combining with Bissain't. They'll lose some yards there. And a 3rd and 7 coming up from Indiana's 48.
See, Ben, the reason I said they might take a shot is because you have 2nd and medium. Miami, for the first time on this drive, proved that they're desperate for a stop. They can't give up any more rushing yards. They brought the 0 blitz.
3:20 to go. 24-21 Indiana. Winner is the national champion. 2 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom on a huge 3rd and 7. Mendoza doesn't like the play call, goes up to his offensive line. Black goes from his right hip to his left, back to his right. Mendoza takes the snap. Short drop back, looking out right for Cooper. It's caught again for a first down. It's Charlie Becker again, all the way at the 31. Becker does it again with the defender on him.
Roommate connection. There must be some special sauce between this duo of Becker and Mendoza. He wasn't open for 1 second of the play, but he rises up, he jumps up, he floats in the air, and Mendoza will put it only where his guy can catch it. That is unbelievable, time in and time again.
Indiana is milking the clock, up 3, 2:27 to go. They need one more play before the 2-minute timeout. Play clock's at 5. A 1st and 10 from Miami's 33. Fernando Mendoza takes it. Handoff, a sweep to the right. Hemby got the first down and pushed out of bounds all the way up near the 20. And that'll take us, actually got out of bounds, so we're going to keep going. Indiana can take it down to the 2-minute timeout, I believe, if they want.
Yes, they can. So once they set the chains, Ben, the clock will run again, which it now is.
So 2:08 and counting, and here is the 2-minute timeout in Hard Rock Stadium. Indiana up 3 with the ball, and they are driving on Miami. One more touchdown could pretty much put it away and make it extremely difficult for Miami.
One more first down could. Miami has 3 timeouts left, so if you get to like a 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, Miami absolutely has to call a timeout. And then in that situation, one more first down, Miami is up against it. Ben, why don't we throw it down to the sideline? Let's check in with our man, Nick Rodecap. Nick, what is it like down there, and what's going on?
You talk about nervous energy, guys. There's just so much tension in the air, and I want to cut through that tension and remind you, there are a handful of guys on this team who have made key plays all season long that were recruited by the previous coaching staff, came back to Indiana amid the coaching change because they believed in what Curt Cignetti was building. You think about the game-winning touchdown against Penn State. Who made that catch? Omar Cooper, a Tom Allen recruit from Indianapolis, who has made multiple key 3rd down catches in this game tonight and had a huge breakout game against Penn State. none other than Charlie Becker, one of the last recruits of the Tom Allen era. And I will remind you guys, he wasn't even a starter when this year began. He was a true sophomore. He was on the second-team offense, getting playing time in garbage time during blowouts against teams like Kennesaw State and Indiana State when there were relatively few eyeballs on this Indiana team. Now he's made some of the biggest plays in the National Freakin' Championship against Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. Not bad for a true sophomore. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Nick. Really puts it into perspective. Luke, you and I, the first game we called this year was that Kennesaw State game. A game where Charlie Becker, a second-string wide receiver, caught a touchdown and got called back on the same drive, caught another touchdown. And we thought, man, Indiana's got a pretty good backup here if somebody goes down. Well, Surratt went down, Becker stepped up, and then worked himself into the starting lineup, and today has two of the biggest catches of the game.
He had a fourth down catch on the previous touchdown drive that hit his left hand. His right hand hadn't even arrived to the ball yet. He popped it up in the air and then secured it while getting a foot down in bounds before hitting and ricocheting off the ground. Charlie Becker. I mean, the confidence, the connection, and the ability to deliver in the biggest moments, yes, Ben, of the season, yes, of Indiana football history, but for these guys, of a lifetime. And to do it against a bunch of five-star recruits when their home crowd is just dominating the atmosphere in this game. There are some serious conversations that need to be had if Indiana can win this football game about the clutch gene of this team and where they rank in the all-time category of college football. Because I can think of 5 plays right now, and we haven't even brought back up that Mendoza rushing touchdown on fourth down. Kurt Signetti, this offensive staff, the play calling has been right there on par with the success, and you're a first down away.
Indiana, it all starts with that quarterback, and he won the Heisman because of his clutch gene, Fernando Mendoza. This has been a dream the last 2 years for Indiana football fans, and that is really putting it lightly. 2 minutes to put it away and put the bow on top. 24-21 Indiana, and the ball inside Miami territory, deep inside Miami territory, for a 1st and 10 at the Miami 23. Ball on the far side, hash back out on the field. Mendoza takes the snap. Hemby will take it off right tackle. He's got a room, and he'll get near the first down marker. This is going to be close. It's right at that 13. It was the safety, Jacoby Thomas, who eventually had a shoestring tackle him. They're going to call it just short, 2nd and inches coming up.
That's a nightmare situation on first down for Miami because now you got to blow a timeout, and it's 2nd and about a foot, Ben. So for Hemby, the right side of this offensive line, I just saw the replay. The right guard, Bray Lynch, comes up to the 2nd level, buries the linebacker Mesidor, who has over 70 tackles on the season. That's exactly what you would imagine. I mean, sure, a first down, a touchdown, but that really eats at Miami now because you're thinking situationally you can only stop the clock 2 more times, and Indiana is a huge favorite to get another first down.
Timeout taken with 1:54 on the clock by Miami. And again, 2nd and inches now from the 14-yard line. This is a weird spot for Miami to be in. They're going to have to burn those timeouts. And again, Indiana only has 1 timeout left after burning 2 of them on 1 drive early in the 4th.
If you're Indiana, you can't leave any doubt here, Ben.
Yeah.
You got to get in the end zone if you can.
On their way to a national championship if they can get 6. 3 or less, this one becomes interesting. Miami will have a chance. Bunch set on the left side for 2nd and inches from the 14. Ball in the middle of the field. Hemby on the right hip of Mendoza. He takes the snap, and there's a flag and some movement. We're going back. On a false start on Indiana. These are the kind of mistakes that you cannot afford at this time. Clock is still stopped at 1 minute and 56 seconds. And Indiana sends off their jumbo set. Yeah, Carter Smith. They gave it to Maholsky. Smith, though, watching the replay, he was the one that flinched. So they have to come back out for a 2nd and 6 now.
This changes everything.
And Miami 19. They're still in the red zone, though. Miami's got one timeout left. Becker coming in motion. Mendoza in gun. Another handoff to Hemby, and he's stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. Driven backwards. Forward progress will give him that line. 3rd and 6 coming up now for Indiana. Miami takes the timeout with 1:51 to go.
Seen a lot of things tonight that Miami, credit to them, have forced Indiana to do mistake-wise, especially in the penalty category that Indiana has not done all season. I mean, to go from 2nd and a yard to 2nd and 6, then get stuffed at the line of scrimmage in an obvious run situation. How many Mendoza moments are we going to have, Ben? But in the red area like this, a situation up by 3, $1:51 to go. Miami down to their last timeout. A first down would win the football game. A touchdown would be a dagger shot. I think you got to let him try it. I truly do.
None would be more important than this one, and a first down would realistically win it for Indiana. Miami is out of timeouts. They just used their 3rd. And now you get the conversation, does Indiana even want to score? And check that. I think Miami does have one timeout left. They had it wrong here on the video board, and that did say, I didn't remember when they took their first. So they have one left, so things get interesting. 3rd and 6 now coming up. Twins at the bottom, one receiver up top. Black's behind Mendoza. It's another handoff. Black off left tackle, and he's stuffed just a yard after the line. It's a 4th down coming up. And Miami will have a chance in this football game.
I don't love it, Ben. I really don't. Miami having the timeout there. Sure, an incomplete pass. They hold on to the timeout for the final drive. Radicic has been money all year. You can go up by a touchdown, but you still bring in the doubt of losing the football game on a touchdown and a point after. Miami was going to stop the clock no matter what after the outcome of that play. I would maybe let my guy on 3rd and medium, who won the Heisman Trophy and has done it with his legs tonight, give the offense a chance. Indiana elects not to.
So now,
is a huge kick.
Now is when Miami uses their last timeout. They're out. Indiana's got one left. 24-21 Indiana, a chance to make it a 6-point game if Radicic can be good on 36. Missed just one field goal all year long. It came early in the Big Ten Championship against Ohio State. This one's got more pressure on it than any of the others. Kick is up. It is right down the uprights and good. So Indiana's up 6. Here it is, 27-21, 1:42 to play. Miami and Carson Beck. Will he end his college football legacy in 6 years on a championship moment? No media timeout. We're going to play here, Luke.
Here we go, Ben. Mendoza's gotten all the hype. Signetti, an offensive guy. It's been all offense. When people talk about Indiana, the highlight catches, the Cooper Jr. toe tap, the emergence of Charlie Becker. But what is this team rooted in? It's the defensive side of the football. They lead the country in just about every single category, and they have a chance up by a score. The opposition has no timeouts with 1:42 to go. If you can get off the field, you win the national championship. Here we go.
They held Ohio State to just 10 points, often to be believed as one of the best offenses in college football. Miami had another good game against Ohio State, and that is why we are here in the national championship. Quinn Warren will kick away. Both returners back for Miami, Keelan Marion and Keontae Scott. Kick is up, and there will be no chance to return. Carson Beck comes out, ball at the 25, and that's where Miami's potential game-winning drive will start. It'll be pretty hard to see a tie at this point.
Remember, Ben, last week, Carson Beck, rushing touchdown with 18 seconds left. That was a 75-yard touchdown drive to beat the Ole Miss Rebels. That's what got him here. The investment in Beck, the buy-in from the team. This is mano-a-mano right here. Here we go, national championship and an instant classic in Miami.
Will one of the greatest stories in college football find glory or come up short? Here comes Miami with a stack out to the left, one receiver out right. Carson Beck's got Mark Fletcher on his right hip. And immediately a flag as we don't even have a snap. And Miami coaches are pleading that the play clock should have been reset. Officials say no, it's a delay of game. Good start for Indiana's defense. And the headset just got slammed by Mario Cristobal.
Back them up even closer to the Hoosier faithful. Let it all out.
Now a 1st and 15 for Miami from their own 20. 2 receivers out to the left in a stack formation. 1 receiver outright. Isaiah Jones goes to cover. Fletcher got on the right hip of Beck. It's going to be a pass. Beck looking right, stepping up in the pocket. He lost the ball. I think it's a pass. Nonetheless, it's fell on by Miami near the line of scrimmage. They call it incomplete. 3 defensive linemen in Beck's face. Tyreek Tucker and Mario Landino made the impact.
I mean, it was a risky play to try and pitch this as he was getting wrapped down and looked to be an obvious sack. But it's the right play from Carson Beck. It actually keeps you alive in this football game. You're looking at 3rd and 22 with a running clock, 2nd and 22 with a running clock if he takes that sack. Now you can stop the clock and huddle.
No timeouts for the Canes. 1:36 to play in a 6-point deficit, 27-21 in the championship. Tony coming in motion, twins to both sides. Beck back to throw again. He's looking to the right. It's falling in between 2 corners and a flag in the backfield. And this is going to be some sort of roughing the passer for Indiana. It is. Wow. So in a big moment, and an incomplete pass and another incomplete pass, it would be 3rd and 15 after the delay of game. It's a 1st down for Miami. They will move them all the way up to their own 35 at a fresh set of downs with 1:32 to play. Potentially kept Miami's season alive. It was on Mario Landino.
A team that doesn't commit penalties doing a lot of that tonight in the national championship.
Ball now at the 35. 2 receivers to Beck's right, 1 to his left. Fletcher on his left hip. Claps his hand, takes the snap, 3-step drop back. Got a lot of time, dumps it off to the right to Fletcher, who's caught it at the 40 and gets up to the 45. It's near the 1st down marker, and they'll move the chains. Clock stops temporarily at 1:25. Getting near Indiana territory. Again, a field goal's no good. They're down by 6. Hurry up. Clock runs. 2 receivers to the right. Beck drops back again after taking the snap. Looking to his right and has a man. Malachi Toney at the 47 of Indiana. He caught it, not for a 1st down, so Miami's got to hurry up. Clock ticking. Now under 1:10 to go. No huddle for the Canes. They'll go same formation out of the hurry up. Fletcher on the left hip again of Beck. 2 receivers to both sides. Beck takes the snap. Now a screen pass out right to Daniels, and he's hit immediately before the 1st down marker. Clock keeps ticking. Jamari Sharp makes a nice play.
The play of the year so far on defense from Sharp.
Oh, no, they gave him the 1st. It looked like he got hit right at the line, but the clock does stop temporarily. Now runs at 50 seconds. 1st and 10, and Indiana will take the timeout. That's their 3rd and final. Miami's got none left. We have no timeouts after this. Clock stopped at 48 seconds. A 1st and 10 from Indiana's 41 for Miami. Down by 6 to the national championship. I guess the extra reach from Daniels there got him the 1st.
Yeah, Ben. I mean, it looked like Sharp set the edge. That's right on that near side that we're straddling here in the press box. Cignetti calls a timeout. It's not the defensive coordinator out there talking to the defense. It's Curt Cignetti, headset off, barking orders at a huddle of Hoosiers.
Indiana, 15-0. Miami, 2 pretty brutal losses in the regular season, but they've had one of the best month-long runs in college football since the playoffs been expanded. They have 3 top 7 wins all in the last month. They beat Texas A&M in the 1st round in Texas, go on to beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, then Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. A 1st and 10 for them at Indiana's 41. Ball on the near side hash, down by 6. 2 receivers to Beck's right, out of the timeout. 1 to the left. Fletcher on his left hip. The 6th-year senior trying to lead his team to the championship. Takes a snap and drops back. Deep throw out right. It's picked off. Jamari Sharp, the Miami man, has it. He's got it at the 5. Indiana's going to win it. There's some flags for unsportsmanlike conduct, but the final chapter to the greatest story college football's ever told has been written. From unnoticed to undisputed, Indiana national champions.
Sharp read it the entire way. He didn't even look at the intended receiver. He stared down Beck. Beck stared down the target, and Sharp stole the natty in Miami.
We're still awaiting this penalty call. It isn't unsportsmanlike on Indiana. That'll be after the play. That'll push them back and just make it a tougher kneel down for IU.
Then the first time on the drive that 4 guys rushing Carson Beck collapsed the pocket. Beck is awful under pressure, and the offensive line did an unbelievable job all night getting to Carson Beck. Protecting him.
44 seconds to go. And Miami has no timeouts. Now, this is interesting because the ball is at the 2.5-yard line because of the unsportsmanlike penalty call on Indiana. An awkward fall to the ground after the interception for Jamari Sharp. They do spot the ball at the 3. So if they kneel this down, it'll have to be right very close to the line of scrimmage. And Mendoza will take the snap and kneel it down at the 1.5.
So you got to run one more play here, Ben.
And you're really close to the end zone. Maybe you neglect the kneel down and push forward. One more snap for glory. And all Indiana's got to do is stay out of their own end zone. It's 27 Indiana, 21 Miami in the national championship. Clock is ticking, and again, one more play has to be snapped. They'll try to kneel it right at the goal line. Mendoza snaps it. The Heisman leads Indiana to glory for the first time. Indiana wins the national championship. Google him. He's a national champion and in charge of one of the greatest turnarounds we've ever seen in sports.
Indiana, this one's for you. Oh my goodness. What a season, what a story. What a head coach. What a time to be a Hoosier.
Tears on both sides. Happy tears for a team that watched the losingest program in college football history pick up Curt Cignetti from James Madison, and all he ever does is win. He comes to Indiana and year win the greatest season in program history, but they get blitzed by both teams that were in the national championship. Curt Cignetti was never going to let that happen again. It's the most wins by any team in college football history, 16-0 and a national champion.
Can't write a better story than this one, Ben. What a game. Came into this game, people were talking about a blowout. Are you kidding me? This Miami team, they are resilient as anybody in the country, but they met the toughest date that college football has seen in a long, long time.
It's a 27-21 final and heartbreak for the Hurricanes in their home stadium. Indiana comes into a road environment. The team wins it on the field. The fans make this not nearly the home game we thought it would be for Miami. And so many people get credit for the confetti falling on the field as Indiana takes home the 2026 national championship. Yes, that is a sentence that we're saying on the radio. A combined 7 wins in the first 2 years before Cignetti got there. 2-10 to 4-8 to 3-9. And people said Curt Cignetti was making career suicide by choosing to be the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Now he etched his mark in college football history and already will be named one of the best coaches the sport has ever seen.
The greatest turnaround the sport has ever seen. And he's got one of the best teams, and I use that as a collective word. Not talent, definitely toughness, definitely a lot of talent, definitely a lot of athleticism, but the team, the collective group effort, that when things didn't go their way, there was no finger pointing tonight. Their Heisman made Heisman plays. Their receivers made plays that they've never made before in their life. But they did it. And that's what you have to do to beat a great Miami team who beat 7 ranked opponents this season. I mean, the only thing that was stopping the U from being back is IU and Curt Cignetti.
There is not an ounce of pavement probably on the streets of Kirkwood right now that you could see as students flood to see their first championship in program history and take down college football royalty in the U. They come down to Miami Gardens and win it. This is it. There will be a movie about this 2-year turnaround for Indiana, and we are all witnessing it in front of our own eyes. One of the greatest things we will ever see in sports. Confetti falls on number 1 for Indiana, and Curt Cignetti thinks there's more. Fernando Blair's inside Hard Rock Stadium. And for one final time, we'll have to set it off for WIUX. And I don't believe we'll do it justice. All 16 games covered, all thanks to so many people in the IU Sports Media School. And Galen Clavio for leading us the whole way. And all our studio hosts, Jack Snyder holding it down in the studio today. And the 7-man crew that I don't think could have done any better of a job documenting this movie of a season for Indiana. Seniors sent off Nick Rodecap, Graham Nash, Zach Browning, juniors and Andrew Hillsman and Ian Plaskoff. And my good friend right next to me, Luke Brennaman, I got to witness this with. Licks down on the sideline. One more time for the college football season, signing off. I'm going to go grab some confetti as we head down there. One of the greatest stories I've got to tell. It's an Indiana National Championship on WIUX. History made on your home for Hoosier Sports. Get home safe, everyone.